So we ended up meeting with Demi Prime, talking about the scout and the entire force that was near the city, and she was worried about her people's safety and agreed to send a diplomatic party to meet with them. We each spent a little bit of time searching for the scouts around the cathedral, most of us finding signs of movement, but Tal ended up actually finding one of the scouts and talking with them, and they said that they were just trying to retake the city to rebuild it, which was a little bit suspicious. We informed Demi Prime and agreed to meet with the diplomatic party, and she agreed to try to help locate the Rudemaster Tower and send Nimble with us to meet with Lady Softspire. On our way there, we end up meeting one of the sword wraiths who informed us that Lady Dinara wanted to speak with us, so we went to see her as well. And she was worried about the forces just being there to invade, and they wouldn't really recognize her authority and wanted us to send a message to them. On the way to finally meet with the human forces of Lady Softspire, we run into some vampires, which we very quickly took care of. And then continued to meet with Lady Softspire just past the Issac walls. We ended up talking and agreeing to set up a meeting between them, Lady Dinara, and possibly the Warforged as well. Before heading back, we ended up trading a little bit of information and found out more about the possible more forces coming in to the city in a little while to help reinforce them. Returning to Dinara, we inform her of the meeting and ask her opinion of it, and then to Chiron's to send a message on her behalf.
Okay. And yeah, that's about where we left off. Alright, so let's see. It is the 18th of winter, 5:30 in the evening. You are currently at where you're at. You're at the keep. What does the group want to do?
I think we were going to talk to Zana, or Balefire was going to talk to Zana about an update on the situation and a sort of a treaty, not a treaty, but like an alliance sort of with Dinara, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you're gonna go talk to Zana. Uh, okay. So you go and speak with Zana, who, as usual, would allow you entry into the keep. She comes out to greet you up on the roof in her human form. Says, Balefire, it is good to see you again.
Hey, Zana, how are you? I have an update for you.
Oh,
So there's a family from called the Soft Spires. They're out there on the edge of the city. They want to resettle the city.
these are the humans you told me about.
Yeah,
I,
yeah. So
so are they enemies? I thought I was to attack them.
So this is kind of what you need to decide. It's kind of up to you. They want to resettle the city. They most likely would not be happy with you in the keep. Although they did indicate that they were kind of open to things. We are trying to convince them not to resettle the city, but to set up somewhere else. But they kind of wanted guarantees that if they set up somewhere else, like create a new settlement, that the mighty dragon of Issac wouldn't attack them there. So I think it might behoove you to um, perhaps create an alliance with the Warforged that have taken over the cathedral and with the specter of Queen Dinara, who's down below, and work together to dissuade people from resettling the city.
Humanoids are deceitful and petty creatures. I don't
They
know if
are.
I should trust these soft spire peoples to be this close to my lair. Allowing humans nearby always ends in trouble, as the dragons often say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like if you
Yes. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I mean if you went and you ate all of them or killed all of them, and it'd be no sweat off my back.
Well,
But
it is dangerous to underestimate them. I don't know what sort of magic users or specialists they have with them. Still, I think your advice is wise. I should speak with my neighbors. I don't know much about these Warforged, but I have somewhat shared the city with these specters for quite some time. So maybe it is time to finally talk to this Dinara. Where can I find her?
um, I can show you the way, or I can tell her. I can tell. Um, I guess I
Well,
can just give her directions on where it is,
she
or I can
says,
escort her as
I
they attack.
have seen their forces almost exclusively gathered in the marketplace. If I go there, will they attack me, or can I speak with them to gain audience?
I can warn them that you're coming so that they don't attack you.
That is probably the best course. Just let them
All
know
right.
I will visit them, and hopefully they honor this. I guess it wouldn't be a truce because they aren't at war, but this meeting.
Arrangement.
Yeah.
Yep.
He says,
Sounds good.
thank you, Balefire. I appreciate your help in this."
You're welcome. I hate to see you bothered by these humans.
No, it's just the way of things. I've been dealing with invaders of the city for quite some time. All right. Anything else you want to talk to her about?
Nope, not right now.
All right. So what about the rest of you?
Eating things.
Who's eating things?
Uh, Sorry about that. One of my roommates was in the room and her dog was here.
I gotcha. All right.
But yeah, eating things
Uh,
is
I
good.
would
Yeah.
I would inform Chiron of the message we wanted to send back from Dinara.
All right. So Chiron is still hard at work on his research. He seems interested. He says, "Oh, yes, I will get in touch with her right away. Thank you for letting me know." And he actually closes all his books that are floating around him and kind of walks over to the south of the library to retrieve something. Tal, are you doing anything?
I don't think so, since the watch are taking my job.
Warforged took your job.
Was
On her
Mora
job.
researching anything or no?
I think she was,
I
but
think she was researching the items, or was Balefire or Calgrad doing that?
I think she
Belcar was
was.
researching Shadowfell.
Okay.
I was just organizing my notes and maps, so not doing anything
I'll say
specific.
Mora's sort of researching her own stuff. She hasn't spoken much about what she's looking at. Unless you want to try
So
to ask her to research something.
Well, I thought she was researching the items to try and get more information on what they did.
the three
Oh,
items, you mean?
the
Yeah.
key items?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, we could say she was looking into that. That's fine. She's still doing that. So yeah, at this point we're kind of in downtime between events as the soft spire forces kind of have arrived and things have slowed down a bit around the city. So I'm happy to pass some time if you all want to devote it to some downtime activities.
Uh, did we said to Spire that we would come back with a Dinara's proposal about meeting?
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, we still need to kind of bounce back and forth and meet with Demi Prime to see what she has to say about that meeting, and Dinara to finalize like when and where and all that.
Okay.
So Calbrod would kind of suggest for that meeting, it may be actually a great thing to put like a front with a Warforge, the dragon, maybe Balefire on the back of the dragon, Dinara and her specters, and us. And behind Dinara's claim, she has the best claim for the city as a part of the Empire, and kind of clearly point out the forces that Softspire would be kind of against if she was deciding to move in the city instead of trying to set up a new city nearby. What do you guys
There is
think?
one small problem with that. Dinara can't leave her chambers, so the meeting would most likely have to be in her chambers if they want a face-to-face meeting. And Zana can't be in her dragon form in those chambers.
Ah, that is true. Can the meeting happen in the Hollow?
In the Hollow?
I'm not sure
Um,
how that thing works, but isn't that a way to speak together? Is there, I mean, I don't know exactly how that communication works.
kind of yes and no, given that Lady Softspire does have a decently powerful wizard or spellcaster at her side. That might be possible. But they would have to have a uh, they would have to have an access point.
Do we even want them to know about this kind of stuff?
No,
Okay,
I don't think we want them to know about the Hollow.
all right, just kind of pointing that out as an option, but that makes sense.
Like I'm fine with offering us to basically escort them to Lady Dinar's chambers, because they probably don't want to have too many forces in the city at the moment, but they also want to be safe about the meeting itself.
Well, I thought
So,
part of the point was to with Chiron was to let Chiron see if he could release Dinara.
If that is a possibility, then yes, then we can talk about where and when the meeting can take place. But if that's not possible, then
Yeah, so
we're
let's see
limited
how
on our
that before we
options.
worry about it then, let's
right,
see how that goes. We've got to go back and talk
okay,
to Dinara anyway to let her know that Zana is going to swing by and chat with her.
okay.
Yeah,
So
Also, we don't know how much the second family that's coming will honor the deals we make with Softspire.
absolutely.
yeah. From what I gathered and what Tal was able to discern from all of that speaking is that she doesn't like the other family, and the other family most likely holds more power.
Yeah.
So, okay. So next step is Dinara then, if we are as part. So that does that mean that actually Tal, you could pick up what Karen was working on something. If he's changing his study to see if he can free Dinara, maybe Tal, you can work on what he was trying to read about.
Storm. But almost pressing concern, to be honest, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes, this Mindstorm has been off of our radar. This Mindstorm has been out of our view for several days. Mora says, "I'm a bit worried about what is going on underneath us. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that we have not experienced any trouble." Do you think,
We
she says, do you think there's a chance whoever got this ring may have taken it back into the deep?
it's a ring.
Or this item?
It's an item.
I think we knew that it was an item.
Yeah, you knew that it was an item.
We just didn't know it was a ring.
Yeah, so this item, she would say then. Because I think there was some research done, and it was some kind of item.
So, do we have a way to contact Jean-Luc down there to see if there's anything happening?
We
Anybody
kind
has
of lost our sending person.
right, so we don't have a way of contacting him.
Let me check Mora.
And Jean-Luc himself may have, I don't know what kind of abilities he has, but
I think Mora. What is Mora? I forget.
Or was a bard.
Bard, Bard, Warlock. Let's see. What spells does she have? No, it doesn't look like she has sending, unfortunately.
And I can do it tomorrow.
Oh,
oh, you can?
I believe sending is a cleric spell as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why.
Oh,
That's
cool.
why Sonia had
Go.
it.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably worth having it and just kind of keeping at least once per day in touch with Jean-Luc to see how things evolve down there.
All right. So, is there anything else the group's doing during today, or should I pass time?
I'm still researching how to set up the hollow points.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can assume you're still working on your
Okay.
downtime projects. As long as you have at least 8 hours in a day, you can work on that. So the day would pass quietly, and I assume that Tal is feeding everyone as usual.
Yeah.
Tal's like the utility cleric. He's setting up the walkie-talkies, feeding everyone. All right. So it is now the 19th of winter. It's 7 a.m. Things have been quiet. Oh, and you went back and told the specters that the dragon was going to come meet them. Balefire.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So what does the group want to work on today? Anything specific, or just continue downtime activities?
Yeah, probably continue.
I would
Well,
ask Nimble if he needed an escort back to Demi Prime to relay all that information, or what was going on with that.
He says, "Well, there are still ghouls in the streets, supposedly, so I wouldn't mind an escort."
You guys mind taking him back? That way we can get a little bit of update from her on her perspective on what she wants to do with the meeting and all that.
that's fine. We just so if it's the next day, we're supposed to go back to Softspire, with a proposal. So we need to find out what Chiron and Dinar are up to. If they're going to be able to get Dinar released, and then find out if Zana came in during the night to speak with them,
Hmm.
right? Because we got to go back
Yep.
to Softspires. I
Yes,
mean,
we have.
hey, we don't have to, but like we said we would. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she expected us to be able to get back to her within a day, but that is what we said.
I'm just saying we need to check in with Dinar, see the status of things. But knowing what the Warforged are up to as well is obviously important. So we can go talk to the Warforged in the morning, and then go talk to Dinara with the Warforged update.
Hmm.
Uh, Maybe before I would ask Tal, before we kind of split, maybe can you do a sending to Jean-Luc to just to check that everything is okay down there?
Yeah, sure.
So sending to Jean Luc. Now, I forget, did you leave Jean Luc at the vault itself within the wall or outside the wall guarding?
Outside the walls.
Okay. So he says from the ruin side, he has not seen anything. He does not have access to the cave side right now, so he assumes that's still closed off.
Also, any more activity from the Mind Flayer side?
He says, "No, the bunker has been quiet, and we have not encountered any of the ghosts. I'm not sure what they're doing." He says, what has been the situation?" Well, I guess he couldn't talk back and forth, but I mean, he couldn't do a conversation. So yeah, he would just say things are well, and ask how the ghoul situation is up there, which would require you another spell to continue the conversation if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him that everything is fine up here. We are talking to the human parties that are arriving, trying to find a peaceful conclusion.
All right. He would reply that he is a bit concerned that the ghouls are missing, and he wonders if that has something to do with the mind flayers missing. And that would be your second spell.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell all of that to the party, and I mean, have we even tried sending a message to Orcard yet?
He's on a different plane.
Sending works on different planes?
No,
No.
I don't think it does.
No? You can send the message across any distance and even to other planes of existence.
Oh. Other planes of existence too.
But there, okay. So there's, I think you did try to contact him at one point, but you didn't get a reply.
Okay, so we did try it, okay.
That was, I believe, when you first defeated the Shadowlord. You attempted to get in touch with him.
Yeah, I'll try again in the evening if I have spell slots left. Let's see what the day brings.
So there is a chance that it didn't arrive because of that. Actually, I forget. What did I tell you? Do you remember what I told you happened when you did the sending?
I don't remember if it was
Okay.
just no reply or if the spell didn't work.
Yeah, so for whatever reason, we'll say there was no reply for whatever reason. Okay, so what are you doing?
I think we're bringing Nimble back to see what Demi Prime wants to do, and then speaking with Dinara.
Okay. So the trip is smooth. Nimble, you move across the town with Nimble, bringing him back to the Warforged, where he's staying for now. And then you were going to speak with Dinara, you said?
Does Demi Prime not have anything to say in terms of what she wants to do in terms of the meeting?
So if you... Okay, so you want to talk to her. So she would... She's still concerned. The... I guess I could just RP her, that's fine. So she would meet with the party. She would say, it concerns me that I don't know for sure what the motives of these humans are. We they don't seem to be hostile, but I still don't know if I should trust them. I think it is still best that we meet with them. But hearing that, did you tell her they're bringing in reinforcements?
Yeah, I wouldn't really hold much information back,
Okay.
and I would also let her know that Lady Dinara, from her experience as being part of basically a noble family, thinks that it is an invasion force.
She nods. She says, "Well, it definitely tips their hand to have more of their armies here. Though we do still have the dragon, or you have the dragon in the keep, I guess, as a deterrent.
So we're trying to put together an alliance of the residents of the city. So that would be you, that would be Dinara, that would be the dragon, and any of the other forces here that would rather not have the humans here,
And
um,
us.
and us. So if you'd like to take a stronger stance against having the humans here, I'm sure the alliance would welcome your presence.
Says yes. I think it would be good to meet with them. At this point, with the human empire, the Teruvians bringing in more forces, an alliance would be necessary in the event of a full-scale invasion, especially if we have to worry about magic users and other such specialized mercenaries.
We're about to head over and talk to Dinara. Do you want to come, or do you want to send a representative with us?
And she
See if
thinks for a
we can
moment.
introduce you.
She says, I think it would be best to send Nimble for now. He can speak in my stead. Is this an official meeting between the other two of them?
Yes.
Between the dragon and Dinara.
Yes.
Yeah.
And us.
I mean, it's just two people trying to figure this out. I don't know what you mean by official.
I just didn't know if they were going to have a different meeting later, but all right. Yes, we'll send Nimble with you, and he shall speak for us. Nimble says, I am happy to give my services. She says, if there is a time when we are speaking with the humans, I might like to attend that, though.
Okay. Yep. We're working on the arrangements for that meeting as well. We will let you know when that is.
She nods and says, all right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, so the
Uh,
group takes. Go ahead.
just a question for Tal, out of character. The order you represent is a order from the Empire, right?
Yes.
So is it like a prominent order, or I don't know exactly
Honestly, I don't
what.
know either.
Sorry, it is a what?
I don't know either. I mean,
Oh,
she's a prime goddess, but I don't know how this empire reveres her or anything.
What god do you worship?
Erathis.
She is not the largest worship deity, but there are several churches and shrines all over the place to her. I mean, you know that acting as a judge, your family had somewhat of a powerful position within society. You are probably you and your family are probably known by most of the noble families.
okay. And the order has a certain clout over the Empire, or it's more like a religious thing, or like a civil. When you say judge, are you talking like about courtrooms, or?
Yeah, a lot of it, and you can feel free to make some of this up, Tal. I mean, I don't have the exact, you know, I don't have the exact court system worked out for the Empire, but I'm happy to give your family some clout because of your background.
So for Catgold perspective, I mean, Tal is representing something that is actually significant in the Empire.
Yes, that would be correct.
Right. So I would certainly share that with Balefire and Schroeder openly. I mean, explaining what Tal's family means to the Empire and this. So I mean, having you with us is also probably as important as what Dinara role was in family's role was in ISEC. at the time where her family was ruling the city.
I mean, we aren't noblemen or anything.
Okay,
Like,
yeah. So
yeah. Also, like
I
this whole
will.
issue
I will.
with the.
By the way, I will defer to Tal on how powerful you want to be for this. If you say you're not powerful, that's fine. If you say you are, then I'll also let that be a thing.
I would say we are respected, but we don't really have any power that we can, like, we can't force people to do anything.
Yeah, which would make sense as judges.
okay, but yeah, but you are your family is well known and your armories are recognizable.
Yeah,
Yeah, that still does hold weight, even
Yeah.
if you aren't a noble family. Being a judge in a family like that does hold weight.
yeah, you'd certainly be respected among the noble families. Whether or not you can give them orders is, one thing, but they would probably listen to you more than others.
Right. Well, so that's
So we had this whole issue with those what's it called, permission to cast spells.
Hmm.
yes,
I
the
mean,
crimson
I
dagger.
assume I have permission, if
Uh,
that's fine.
So the church is a little bit different from arcane spell users. Yes, I will say you do have a license, but in general, clerics are not scrutinized as much. They're supposed to have a license, but it's not. It's like one of those things where it's not really checked, especially like if it's a lower level cleric of a church. I mean, it's kind of regulated by the church itself. The Crimson Dagger only steps in if things get out of hand, and like a church fails to regulate its divine casters properly. So it's almost like that is left to the purview of the church unless it becomes a problem. Then the Crimson Dagger steps in.
And
And
their focus is more arcane spellcasters
Yes.
than
So
divine
overall,
spellcasters.
overall, on paper, the Crimson Dagger are supposed to regulate any magic threat, but it is very much weighted towards arcane. Like, even druids, like, they don't usually care about druids unless druids start using their powers to, like, destroy towns or something. Same with
Mm.
rangers or paladins. They are supposed to have licenses, but it's not like druids don't come to town to get licenses, so like they usually
Druids don't
just
come to towns.
yeah, they usually just let those type of casters kind of police their own unless they think there's a danger. Because generally druids aren't a problem as long as the empire, isn't going to sacred places, which generally they don't. And if they do, they send all the crimson people to murder the druids. But yeah, generally they kind of stay away from that type of thing. And
and
druids don't generally exist within the empire. It's very rare.
is there anything I can do to help Schroeder and Belfire get a license?
You probably could, but you'd have to be within one of the major cities that can issue a license.
Schroeder can teleport us, right?
Give me
Uh,
actually give me a history check.
Uh,
Whew, nice.
So you know that there is kind of this provision that judges can give casters almost like a temporary okay to use magic in dire situations. So you know that you can say that they are kind of, I don't know if purview would be the right word, but under your some yeah, they're okay. Like you know that they're unlicensed, but you vouch for them. It's kind of a side provision that you have as a judge.
That's so clearly Calgord would, as a conversation comes up, Tal, you would realize that Calgord is not a great fan of the Empire in general, and particularly of the Crimson Dagger, because of those restrictions. But
Calgrod's he's a
yeah,
libertarian.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, it just that would come up during that discussion as I was kind of uh, Tal would know about that at that point.
Okay, and I'm gonna say, if it comes to that, like none of this, what you do here will get you into trouble. I can vouch for you.
Yeah, and basically, as long as they're not using their magic in illegal ways, then you are fine. By the way, you know, Tal, that it is illegal to use magic to influence or charm. So using magic as part of like even using like a guidance or some sort of spell to influence a conversation is considered illegal.
Okay. Guess that's why I haven't done it.
Schroeder hates all of it, especially coming from the Fae where everything is
Yeah,
unrestricted.
where everyone's just magicking everyone. But yeah, so Nimble is going to come with the group, and where are you heading next? We'll say it's like 8 a.m. It's only about an hour.
Believe we were heading to Lady Denara.
Okay. So the group heads over to Lady Dinara.
We still haven't even come across any more of those like skeletal monstrosities, have we?
No, the as I said, the city's been pretty quiet. The only thing you've come across are the vampires, which you dispatched pretty quickly.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't make you walk through the dungeon again. You could enter her chambers. You'd be allowed access. She would greet the group again. She says, "Ah, it's good to see you all."
Good to see you too. Did Chiron make it to you yet?
She says, "Yes, actually, I spoke with him a bit. We are we're trying to come up with ways that might allow me to leave here, but it was a short discussion. We still
Uh,
need time to look into it."
okay. Uh, did the dragon come speak to you in human form?
No.
Or
Was she
did
going to?
Yeah, we told your guards to expect her, or not basically to not attack her when she shows up. But the dragon is a female. Her name is Zana. She's interested in a mutual defense agreement. Um,
Says, yes,
uh,
we spoke briefly about her last time. You seem to know her very well.
I told you that we would go get her and we would go let her know that what we're trying to do here. So we did that.
She smiles a bit. Yes, she hasn't arrived yet, but I look forward to speaking with her. Says
Okay.
we've known about the dragon, well, for most of the time we've existed, but
Yeah.
yes, it'll be good to finally speak to her.
And then Nimble here is representing uh, the Warforged, and they actually are also interested in, um, would also be interested in an alliance, in a defensive alliance
Nim-
against humans trying to take back Isaac.
Nimble nods and bows. He says, "It would be my honor to speak with you more about this, Queen Dinara." And she smiles and says, you can just call me. What's her last name?" She says, "Okay." She says, "Fine. You can call me Queen Dinara." "That's fine." And she says, "Yes, it'll be good to speak more with you, Nimble. I'm curious to know what the Warforged take on all this is." He nods and she says, "Well, I can. Do you know when the dragon is supposed to arrive?" Did she give
No,
a time
she
or?
didn't. She didn't say when, but she usually, I think, prowls around in human form at dawn and dusk. So
I
if you
see.
haven't seen it yet, I would imagine they would be in the evening.
Nimble says, "I'm happy to wait here if the group has other things they need to do." And Dainara would say, "Oh, I don't know if you saw it, but are you familiar with teleportation circles?"
Yes. Is there one?
A
She
little bit.
says, "Yes, there is one in these halls. It's in an area that isn't used as much and is in a bit of disrepair. But if you haven't been there, if you go to the south areas of this dungeon or this one of these halls, you should find it."
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
She
I
Schroeder?
would
says, "I
love
know."
to. Give me one moment to check on my ghouls to see if they're still there. There's been some talk about them basically disappearing.
She says, "Oh, I don't know. I have not. I have not checked in on the ghouls you left up there, but you told me not to attack them, so they should still
No,
be there."
and hopefully they are. I just am curious to see if all of this talk about them disappearing is due to the scouts killing them or if it's some other means, because I don't believe the scouts have come down here.
And
No, although there is the gelatinous cube in the northern areas of these halls.
well, if the scouts were killing the ghouls, we probably would have seen bodies.
Yeah, exactly. So unless like maybe the vampires are killing them all and eating them?
She says, "As far as I know, because we do send people into the northern halls, but as far as I know, the ghouls are still there. Last my scouts reported." That
Then
would
I
well,
shall take your word for
I
it.
will. I will say that was several days ago. We haven't checked in on them recently because we don't patrol the northern halls that often. But in the immediate, yeah, in the last few days or in the last week, they were seen there.
Alright, that's good enough for me.
All right. So does the group want to go check out this southern area?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Another teleportation circle,
Yes.
especially down here, would be really good.
Okay. I will bring you into the dungeon then as you leave Dinara's chambers.
Let me double check the spell, because how many people can I take with me?
Schroeder, do you have night vision goggles?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I have my light source.
Both of those are active.
Mm-hmm.
I also
Because I know
cast
Tal
light.
needs light.
Okay. What? Oh, okay, so you have light as well, Tal.
Yeah.
And Schroeder. Go ahead and mark yourself as having light, Schroeder, either carried
Mm-hmm.
or on yourself. But yeah, well, go ahead. You can move through. You would see a guard out here to the south of you. He just nods as you leave. Floating there.
Okay, so it lasts one round.
Uh, did she give us better directions?
She
Are we?
just said in the southern halls of this place, which I think you only have one place you haven't explored.
There's
Are
two,
we
I believe. This
over?
door right here and this door right here.
Oh, true. So, yeah, either of those. I mean, you've walked past this door up here many times, but it's never been open.
Which door do
Also,
you guys? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, also, the ghosts don't really need to open doors, as they can just fly through them generally.
I would ask the guard what's through this door.
He says that is just a meeting area,
Alright.
an old barracks room.
Then
So
I'm guessing it's down here.
Can we look at the floor here? It looks kind of dodgy.
Give me a survival check.
Calgrod, can you look at the floor over here?
Hold on, I think I have a problem of visibility. I don't see you guys. Where are you guys at right now?
Oh, they
Right.
went south.
Oh, they went south. Okay, let me go there. Oh, and my token is not updated. That's weird. So let
Also,
me.
you don't have to have Deja out for exploration. I mean, you can if you want, but it's
Okay,
kind of a. I can assume she's with you.
yeah, she's following me. Okay, fair
So,
enough.
all right.
Survival check. Yes, survival check. Let's take a look at the floor.
Okay.
Hopefully, light from
Eh,
both sides help.
eh,
Oh,
eh.
It looks dodgy to you. You don't know if it's going to collapse, but you don't know if you fully trust it.
Yeah,
It's definitely a risk.
I'm going to climb on the walls, folks.
I
I
mean,
don't know that
you
far.
you know that these ghosts
oh wait,
don't
no,
have to
no, no.
even think about things like that, so they
I,
probably
I
yeah.
will walk right over it. I'll take my flying off. I'll walk right over it,
All right.
like dead center.
So as you do that, the floor would indeed collapse.
Cool, feather fall.
Do you want to try to grab the side, or are you just going to float down?
Feather fall, and then I'll
All
just
right. So
use
Schroeder
my next
goes,
action to fly back
wee.
up.
So
I'm yelling. I'm yelling. Show off at the shoulder.
Better to
so
know for sure.
it looks like it's about 100-foot drop. So you float down 60 feet and cast or use your flight again to fly back out.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a pretty deep pit. There are even bones at the bottom of it.
Ooh, that's good to know.
All right.
Uh,
Running jump.
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
It looks like there
Schroeder,
is a natural cave down there.
Schroeder, do you want to see what kind of bones those are? I mean, that could be interesting to see. We have not seen any bones in any of the pits before.
Yeah, and you imagine those bones aren't from the fall because the floor was still, intact.
Mm-hmm.
Let me turn off my light source then. I will cover it
Okay.
and then go down to investigate the bones.
Okay, so you fly down. What's your passive perception?
Garbage.
Okay, you fly down to the bottom, and yeah, it looks like there are some bones. You would guess this is connected to the under caves of Issyk that you've traveled through. As you get down there, you see several sets of eyes glancing out of the darkness, red ghoulish eyes, and some of them approach a bit, hissing at you. You see there are ghouls down here, though they don't attack you. They just seem to look at you for a moment, then start moving off into the tunnel. Which is an
Now
odd
that's
response.
strange.
Yeah, they sort of almost like hiss at you, but then just move away, as if now uninterested. What do you want to do?
What direction are they going?
Good question. They are going northwest of you, into the northwest tunnel.
Okay. Are there any skull bones?
Yeah, it looks like all these bones are old. Nothing
Yeah, that's
that.
fine. I just want to bring up a skull that way someone better at figuring out nature stuff. Because I don't have it trained, but I do have a
Well,
+6 to it.
do you have medicine?
Yeah, I have medicine.
You are pretty sure that these bones belong to several humans. Probably a group of 3. One of them female, 2 of them males. And you think they probably died quite a long time ago, as there's no more flesh on the bones. Or they were, well, they could have been
Are
eaten
there
too.
gnaw marks on the bones?
Yeah, there probably are. So it's hard to
Okay.
determine when these people died. Something ate
Yeah.
them.
Okay. I will fly back up and inform the group of the very strange ghoulish behavior. and let them know that they were human corpses.
I would suggest that we follow the ghouls. We don't know what the ghouls are doing, and you found some. We should try to follow them to see where they're going, especially if
Do we
they're
want
not
to
at the
set up
beginning.
that? Do you want me to get that magic circle first?
Uh,
Morris says,
ma-
regardless of what they're doing, they should be put down, undead or a bane.
the
But
magic circle is not going to go anywhere shorter where the ghouls are.
How long does it take me to mark a new teleportation circle?
I think you need to copy the design. It would probably be a couple of minutes. I think you copy the design into like your spell book, is how it works. Or you can use a piece of paper. You just need to have the design of the. I mean, you could pull up Magic Circle. I could see the
For one
particulars.
minute.
Okay. So yeah, you
So we
just
can spend 1 minute for me to get this location. That way we can just teleport back no matter how far they go. And
yes, and I can track the undead. I believe Calgrod probably could too. Though I agree with Calgrod that we should go sooner rather than later, as we risk losing the trail, even for a minute.
all right.
Your call. I mean, the group calls. Right now, it's 1-1.
The other teleportation circle if you really need to get out.
Yeah, if we need to get out fast, we can always go to the other teleportation circle.
All right. So what do you all want to do? Do you want to go to the room, or do you want to try to track these ghouls and see where they're going?
Probably the ghouls. The teleportation circle's not going anywhere.
Okay.
Right, so how do we get down there?
Yeah, it is 100-foot drop.
I can feather fall myself.
I
Oh,
can feather fall all of us.
yeah, feather fall
No.
does a group of people.
Hi.
How
So
do we
we
get
jump?
back
It's up
out?
to
We
5
don't
falling
teleport
creatures.
out.
How do we get back
How do
at
we get
it?
back out?
Like, does anyone have rope or anything?
Tal's like,
I
all
have
you weirdo flyers just flying everywhere. How do us
yeah.
regular people move back?
Bellfire has some rope, and we also have. I've got my immovable rods too, so there we can.
Uh, yeah,
There's much we can do.
if you want, you could certainly attach a piton to the wall here. I'd say probably 2 pitons and tie 100 feet of rope to give you a way back out easy.
All right, we can do that. Does anyone have pitons? I think I did pick some up. I think I picked up a climbing kit.
So a climbing
I mean,
kit would
harness.
probably. Did the climbing kits say they have pitons?
I thought so. That was part of the point. I definitely have a climbing harness in my bag. Where'd I put the pitons.
Yes, it
So
includes special pitons.
So if you have a climber's kit, you can say, "Oh wait, what is a special piton? What does that mean?"
It just says includes special pitons, boot tips,
great.
gloves, and a
All
harness.
right. Well, I'll say that the climber's kit comes with 10 pitons if you have one.
I think I read something about the regular pitons. You use them and you lose them, but the special pitons you kind of keep them back. So it's
Oh, so
kind
you
of
can remove them from the wall and stuff.
yeah.
I see.
That's
Yeah, it
what I
says that you have
remember
to move
reading.
them every 25 feet.
Oh, so you could kind of you can. I see. So yeah, I mean, you could leave 2 of them here with the rope just to have the rope here. Well, who has the climber's kit?
A Bellfire.
Okay.
He definitely does. I'm just trying to find the exact thing. I definitely have the harness.
All
Like
right.
it showed up and ready to find.
So if you want to spend 100 feet of rope, I can put the rope here for later use.
All right, let's do that.
Okay.
How long is this going to take to set up?
To hammer in the pitons, probably not too long. Maybe like minute or two. I guess you could, at this
I'm gonna
point,
go
run
open the
down the
store.
hall and yeah. All right, so you open up the door. It looks like no one has been in here for a long time as the door swings inward. And inside the room, there's a bunch of debris and what appears to be arcane markings on the floor.
Going to start scribing them.
Okay. Give me one moment for something.
God would chuckle when he sees Frodo goes alone. As the pittance being put on the side of the hole.
Sure is like 1 sec and just runs down the hall. Sorry, give me one moment. I am leaving a note here.
Oh, I have exactly 2 pitons.
Oh.
Broke
You mean outside of the climber's kit? You have an extra 2?
I think when I added the climber's kit, I added all of the things individually because I have a climbing harness listed in my inventory.
Okay.
Do you have the boot tips?
I should. I don't know if I actually put those in individual. I definitely put the pitons in as individual items, though.
Yeah,
So I
you get a
definitely
harness, a boot tips, and
Yeah,
gloves.
I retroactively am not going to be adding that stuff to the inventory because I clearly
Yeah.
put in the climbing harness and the pitons, though. So anyway, point is, I have the pitons. I have 2 of
Yeah.
them.
All
Which is what
right.
we need.
So go ahead and minus 2 pitons and 100 feet of rope.
Yeah, working on that.
And I'll just leave a note, so if you mouse over it, it kind of tells you what's going on. All right, so Schroeder, you would come back. You have your inscription of the circle. You see that Balefire has secured a rope going down the hole.
Sorry, hang on. That might have been an old message I looked at in my inventory.
Oh, maybe not.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. I don't know why this is so difficult for me sometimes. I have to go with no, I don't have any right now. Sorry.
Well, regardless, we now have a way back up.
Well,
How,
does someone have 2 pitons for this?
I do not.
No, I do not.
All right, so you,
I
I
have
mean,
stone, so we can fasten the rope there.
you got what?
I have shaped stone.
Oh, you're
Stone.
gonna like
Can you just make us some stairs?
No, it's only
The
5
whole
feet.
way down.
But no, that's a good call. You could make like a little stone bar in the wall that's pretty thick and like just tie the rope around it. I mean, it's expensive, but yeah, we could do that.
I've got these immovable rods, so we can put one close to the wall. You stand on it, put another one up higher, climb up to the second one, and then Schroeder can move the bottom one up, and we can
Well,
climb out that way.
oh, you mean once you get down? Yeah. So do you want to do that? I mean, that's going to take a
I-
much longer
I
time.
have my teleportation circle now.
Yeah, I mean, we can. I mean, plan on teleporting out, or we could fasten the rope to the movable rod.
So I'm not worried about getting out. Why? Let's just go. Like
Yeah.
we could find stairs somewhere else. Like we might not need to come back up this hole. We're worrying about something that we don't need to worry about.
Also, it would be a lot faster for me to just take one of the immovable rods plus the 100 feet of rope, come up to the top, and place it down.
Fly up here and then secure it. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
we
All
could
right.
also just get in the bag, get in the portable hole, and then Schroeder can fly up and then let us out of the hole. Like
Yeah.
we've done that before too.
It's
So
true.
like
It's a little bit
that's an
more.
easier way to solve this problem.
Might be a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if you could all fit in the portable
We
hole
do-
right now, but
We do
anyway.
2 trips.
Anyway, unless you actually try to do it, it's not important. So you guys are using a feather fall spell to get down there?
Yes.
Yep.
So go ahead, someone cast the spell as you jump down. All right. So yeah, you cast feather fall. The group falls down, and you are back within the undercaves.
Anti-gravity for the win.
Let's see, where in the undercaves are you? You are sort of over here. Yeah, you believe you're in probably around this area due to your knowledge of survival. So to track these ghouls, I would need first perception to find their trail, and then a survival check.
And do you want to do
All right.
the
So yeah, Tal, you
Yep.
you walk over. There's a lot of signs of passage down here, but especially with the 21, you think you're able to find the ones they need. But at that point, you need survival.
I will help him, giving advantage because I'm trained.
I don't have it trained.
Yeah, but you did pretty good.
Go ahead and make a survival check, Calgrod.
I'm not giving him advantage. That's what you're saying. Right. Oh yeah,
Yeah, the way I do it is I
Yeah,
have you
yeah, I
both
forgot
roll and
about
take
that.
the higher one. No worries.
Right.
Yeah, so you take a close look, and you do see recent signs of passage. From your training, you know the difference between something that was left long ago and something that was recent, and you believe you have the trail.
They went that way, northwest.
All right, so you start
Yeah.
following them.
Mm-hmm.
So while you didn't see much activity up top, you definitely see a lot of signs of passage down here. You think that maybe either the ghouls retreated down here or there's still a lot still down here. Give me a d20 roll. Are you trying to be quiet as you move, or are you just.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a stealth check from the group.
Ooh, I like that.
And you can assist each other. So I'll take the top three. Clang, clang, clang. Or sorry, there's four, so the top two. So you're doing pretty good, moving quietly. In Calgrod, give me another survival check. Or up to two of you. I guess Mora could help with this. I think she has survival. Let me check, though. It might just seem like she should have survival. No, she doesn't. So, I guess anyone. Tal. All right. So yeah, helping each other. You are making your way, and you're starting to come into an area that looks kind of familiar.
Did they found a new Mama Ghoul? I hope not.
Give me one moment. Where is it? Yeah, these tunnels start to look. Give me a history check. Yeah, I just scrolled right past it. There it is. You believe that these tunnels are elven, the ones that you're entering into.
11 cycle. We may be going back towards the Banshees, folks. Just sharing softly to Tal that there are elven spirits that are roaming some of the halls, and they are pretty dangerous if they screech.
There also were Bodak down here and golems.
And you didn't befriend them?
No,
No.
it's
They
when we
weren't.
avoided them.
They weren't
If you
nice.
see something really dark and hooded and like slouched over, don't look at it.
I assume the two of you still have torches.
Yes, I will still have my gemstone out.
So if they have torches, we're probably walking like 30 or like just outside of the range of the torch kind of scouting. I don't know if Wildfire would do that, but I would certainly do that and keep Dija with them.
Okay. So you, I think you have some of this area mapped. I
Yeah,
don't
we
know
do.
if
We have
you've.
most of it mapped.
Okay, good. So I think you may have been in this hall, but you just were coming into it from a different angle last time. There's the Great and the Old Issyk sewer area,
Oh,
which
yeah.
you recognize. The trail leads north of here.
North.
And
Through here. Through here. Okay.
well, no, it leads up here through
Oh,
this area where you got rid of the slime.
what is that thing here?
And you would see this double door here is open.
Oh yeah, that's we came here. Is that where we found actually one
This
of
was
our companions?
this was the big circle we were doing Ring Around the Rosie with the golem, and
Yep.
I believe where I found my two ghouls. Well, there were more than two, but two left.
We found this young lady that was kind of fleeing from the sewer through the sewer. I can't remember her name now.
Tal?
No, not Tal. She's
No,
not. He's not the lady.
I'm making sure Tal is keeping up with me.
Oh, okay.
I don't see anything, so
What?
You have a.
I,
You should
Oh,
have a light source.
you
I
need to put
don't.
your light source icon back on.
I can't even find my token. It's all black.
Bottom left.
I thought I clicked it. Sorry, it's down here.
You haven't been in these tunnels
Oh, okay.
yet,
No.
but this is somewhere we've gone through before.
Can you see yourself now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, lots of signs of movement in this area. Possibly several large groups of ghouls have come through here.
Are they going north from here or south?
Yes, so the trail you're following, actually, because of the amount of tracks, I need another check, another
Survival.
survival. It becomes much harder to track now.
Oops.
So unfortunately, you did lose the trail. You're not sure where they went exactly.
Did Tal lose the trail?
Yes, both of you did.
And it
Oh.
becomes difficult to try and.
Like I said, there's lots of signs of passage here. You think a large group of ghouls have been moving through this area recently.
We should go north because that is where the south is only like a loop. We should try to go north.
Heads
Be
up,
careful.
slime.
Yeah, slime. Don't step on the slime.
I don't think you have my lantern set up. I think you just have it as a torch.
Sure. What about now?
Yep, that looks right.
We'd probably suggest Tal stays like 30 feet behind us, so that both Wildfire and me can stealth.
So hang on a sec. As you're moving through this hallway, Calgrod and I think Tal, you have past perceptions of 12 or over.
Yeah.
I have 24.
So you would hear lots of movement coming from this room here.
And the door is closed?
Yes.
So this is a room, so I'll kind of whisper like as we huddle. Well, unless yeah. So we hear we both hear the noise kind of shush everybody, regroup together, whisper, and says, "This is the room where we found. I think her name was. Oh, I can't remember now. I have to look in the journal.
I
But
remember there was a hole in the room
yeah,
that led like even farther down.
yes, exactly.
Oh,
So are
shall we open the
we?
door and throw a fireball in there, or what?
Sounds like a great plan to me.
I
Yep.
know I've got all the
We,
best ideas, don't I?
let's do that.
All right. I guess let's see if we can open the door quietly.
Okay. So you start to open the door when a voice will whisper, "Who's there?" from inside the room. You think that was some kind of sending spell or message spell. I forget the one, the cantrip.
Orange is Balefire's response.
She says, "Orange, do I know you?"
I don't know. Who are you?
So you would all see Balefire kind of stop and just kind of sit there for a moment. My name is Elodie. Have we met? What are you doing in these halls? Why do you approach my chambers?
Yeah, we were following some ghouls.
She says, "Ah, yes, my pets. What? Why were you following them? What business do you have?"
We were gonna see if we could redirect them at some humans that are going to invade the city.
Perhaps we have things to discuss then. Enter.
All right, everyone, hold your fire. We're gonna talk to the person in charge of the ghouls.
In charge
Did
of
you say?
ghouls?
Did you say all your fireball?
I said hold your yeah, hold your fire. Yeah, we're gonna
Oh no,
talk to the
Schroeder
person.
definitely lights up when he says
Yeah,
in charge of ghouls.
yes.
Mora says, "Wait, talk to someone in charge of ghouls. I don't like this."
Yeah, but we need all of the firepower we can get against the families that are going to invade Issac. This could turn out to be advantageous.
She crosses her arms. She says, "You all are so strange, siding with ghouls over your own kind."
What do you
But
mean, my own kind?
she says,
I don't see
"Humanoids."
any humanoids.
No need
Yes,
to be
those.
judgmental.
Don't be racist, Mora. All right,
Yeah,
so
like, for real.
you two are opening the door inward.
Yeah.
All right, so the door opens into a room filled with ghouls. On the other side of the room, who would start to approach is a woman. She would bow to you and say, "Greetings, friends. I am Elodie. I don't believe we've met before. And you might actually recognize her. I
I
think you did encounter her in these halls when you first got here, but never actually spoke to her."
I don't
Oh,
see.
is she
Oh,
when we
there's the
talked to you through
toker.
the wall? Did we talk to? I thought we talked to some really mean-looking, badass. Um, yeah, we were holed up in a room, and we talked to someone through the door. I thought, and I could look through and see her.
Oh no,
Wait,
that was Zana.
That was
oh
Anna, yeah.
That was
That was
Zana.
Anna.
no, oh, was that?
Yeah, that
She
was
was down.
Yeah,
Zana.
yeah,
Oh, that's right. That's right.
yeah. It was Anna.
You might not have seen her before then, but she says, "Come in. The ghouls shall not harm you as long as you remain civil."
I'll go in.
She says, "What are you doing in Issac?" I did not think any living remained here.
Is she a living creature or undead?
She looks human.
Mm.
Yeah, there's still some people alive doing a variety of different things here. Uh, hello.
I was waiting
Bill,
for that.
Of
he's
course.
yeah, he's just gonna be polite. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So what do we came here to? I don't know. I followed these guys.
Schroeder would definitely ask how she is able to have so many ghouls under her command.
She looks at you curiously. Give me a persuasion check.
Suck at those. Aw,
She says, "Well, what is your name?"
I am Schroeder.
She says,
Schroeder
"Well,
Demis.
Schroeder, I am a powerful necromancer. I've used the magics of this place to start to wrest control of these undead from a different necromancer. I'm not sure who they are, but I've been fairly successful so far, and I'm slowly gaining more of the ghouls
How long
under
have you
my control."
how long have you been down here? Because there's been some pretty evil stuff going on.
I arrived probably about a week ago, so not too long. I had
So you
sensed,
missed most of the action.
says I suppose, I had been meaning to come to Isik for quite some time for my studies, and recently I had heard of a empire, an empire. What's the word? Expedition, I'll say, an empire expedition coming here. So I sort of snuck in with them, and I was able to start to gain influence among the undead here. I've been gaining control of these ghouls and have been using them to explore. She says, "I don't remember any of you being with the expedition."
You're working with a
No, we
soft
were here
spire.
before them.
Oh.
You're working with a soft spire.
She says, "I came in with the soft spires. I wouldn't say I'm working for them. In fact, I doubt they would have brought me if they knew my true purpose for being here."
Yeah,
You're
so
working.
it's the soft spires we're actually trying to keep out of here.
She says, "Honestly, I have no allegiance to the soft spires. I'm here for my craft because of the
What about
powerful necrotic energies within the city."
what about the other? I'm kind of calling out. I don't remember the name of the other family, but I would call out to see how she reacts. How
The
about
Esmira?
the Ismira?
Yes.
Yes.
She says, "I'm not familiar with empire politics. I apologize. I didn't think there was more than one family who came here, though. I thought it was just the soft spire forces."
They have yet to arrive.
Yeah, they're on their way.
So I would certainly try to look if she's lying or not in that.
Yeah, sure. You guys can. Anyone who wants can make an insight check. 14. So you think she has secrets. You don't think she's telling you everything. You don't get the sense that she's lying to you, though.
So what is your
Uh,
purpose here?
Well, as I said, I wish to study the magics of this amazing city. There's so much necrotic energy. There's these undead that seem to be controlled by some force. I found this strange altar, an obsidian altar that I was able to use to expand my power. I think there are more throughout the city, but I still need to find them.
And you are just looking for power's sake. What are you trying to accomplish with it?
She says, "Well, expanding one's power gives one more options. I just wish to become a better necromancer." She says, I studied within the university long ago, the Phoenix Guild University, but I was cast out because of my investigations into necromancy. The wizard community generally considers it taboo, but I continued my studies because necromancy fascinates me, and that brought me to this place.
Are you familiar with someone named Erinia? Erinier?
No, should I be?
Just asking.
She eyes you
From
curiously.
I would
Well,
be
go
I would
ahead.
be happy to give you more insight on who were controlling these ghouls and other necromantic information if you could show me how you usurped control of these.
You definitely pique her interest. Give me a persuasion with advantage. Yes, are you familiar with necromancy?
Is there a way for me to show that without actually using a spell?
To show it? I don't know if there's a way
Yeah,
to
like
show it.
that
You could
I'm
you could tell
attuned
her.
with necromantic energies.
I mean, you could do something only a necromancer could do, I guess. I mean, there isn't like a card you could pull out that says like Schroeder the necromancer.
Well, I would obviously tell her that
Oh,
I am also a
uh,
necromancer.
one thing you would actually give me a perception check.
You keep asking for things I suck at. Perception.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. You mean like you're trying to show off, like be like, "Ha, I'm a necromancer too," or
Yeah,
like,
that like I'm basically attuned to necromantic energies and
uh,
can
other than
can
saying it, I don't know. I'm not sure.
can't you animate the skull of the humanoid you got out of the pit?
I would need more than just a skull.
Oh, okay.
It
You can't
requires
make
like
it
an
like
entire body.
okay. So you can't make it go like ack 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 ack.
No.
I mean, I
No,
guess you could
okay.
with your hands, but I don't know. Like, oh, a necromancer. Yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do?
I would explain that I am also a necromancer and
She says, "Oh,
have also usurped control from the beings that were controlling a few of the ghouls. I still have two under my control at the moment.
she says, why do you wear a mask, dear?"
Perhaps a conversation for later. I don't particularly like showing my face, and I am not from this world.
Says, curious. I'm always intrigued by an exotic woman, and she gives you a bit of a smile and maybe like a flirting glance.
Of course.
Well, I can show you the altar. It's nearby.
It's across the hall, right? I think we've already seen it.
Oh, have
I
you?
think that's the same altar that I took control of the other ones from. I thought that was
Good.
just a one-time thing. She's been doing it on repeat.
She says, which altar do you. Wait, where. Show me where you think the altar is.
If this is the same area, then I thought that altar was in this room,
Yep,
right?
I thought so too.
I'm pretty sure. Unless it was
Uh,
this one. But we haven't, I don't think we've been in this room. We were
No.
only in that room.
Yep.
there isn't an altar. That's where you were storing your ghouls.
Uh,
I
Uh,
thought that's where they were originally and I took control of them. With the altar.
there was. I don't think there was an altar. That is where they originally were. But I mean, you can look in these rooms again. But yeah, she would say no. The altar is actually to the east of us, in the elven ruins of this dungeon.
Oh,
I could have
what did
swore
you do?
the altar was in the room that the ghouls were, but alright.
What did you do with the elven ghosts?
She says, "Oh, they serve me now.
Oh, Fifi.
I was able to gain control of all the magical entities in this area, including the golems."
I was just about to ask about
Even
the
the
golem.
golems.
She nods.
Impressive.
She says they were actually connected to the magics of this place once I was able to sneak in and figure it out. It took some time, but yes, I was able to do it.
I see. So you usurped control of the area itself,
Yes.
which allowed you to gain control over the creatures that dwelled within.
She says, well, for the golems, the actual ghouls, it
Yes.
was more a product of the altar. So she would push these doors open. And as she's walking down the hallway, an elven ghost kind of floats past.
Oh yeah, we dodged these guys last time we were here.
Yes, we did. They are the
Yes,
dangerous one.
banshees are quite dangerous, but a useful tool.
Indeed.
I'm staying 10 foot from Tal here.
Yeah, you're good.
Tal, don't go too
She
far.
she would push the door open here. She says, the golems. I haven't exactly gained control fully, but I did seem to make them inert for the time being.
Nice job. I'm impressed.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And as she walks into this room over here, you would see a familiar sight, an ebony altar in the southern part of the room. She says, I was able to use a ritual to connect to this altar. I believe there are others, but these amplify my necromantic powers. I'm not sure who put these in Isaac, but whoever did was a genius with necrotic energies. I believe if I can find more of these and connect with them, I can gain influence over more of the ghouls in this place.
So what? So did you just like ask the ghoul to come and regroup under your control here, or where are they all? Are they all in that room we left?
She says, no, those are some of my ghouls. I've been able to gain control of a small force of about 100. As I said, they were being controlled by a different necromancer, though I don't know who. If I can get the other altars, I believe I can exponentially gain control of more and more ghouls in the city. In fact, I'm pretty sure they're already being controlled by another force.
Well, so you want to increase your power. What do you intend to do in that city once you've done so?
And she gets thoughtful for it. She's like, I don't know. I suppose I was more just trying to gain more necrotic powers. These altars don't only let you control the ghouls, they also allow. Well, I've been kind of studying them to try to figure out more about the city, and I believe I can increase my influence over necrotic energies through doing this as well. She says, I don't know if I have a goal other than academic interests and growth in my, growth in my ghoul horde, which could be useful later, but it's just something I'm
Well,
doing right now.
we represent the queen of the city, and is your talents could be useful in what may brew for the city, as you've seen, as you've participated to the Spire expedition. You know that the Empire is not going to let undeads here for very long.
She sighs. She
What?
says, yes, I'm very familiar with the Empire's views on necromancy and the undead. Tal, you think she's being mostly honest? Let's see. What would you think with a 20? You think she does have other goals outside of what she said, outside of the academic. Like, she's not being completely honest.
I mean, everyone has goals or dreams.
Uh, It's hard
Even
to.
this.
Yeah, I just mean like she might specifically have something else she's thinking of doing with the ghouls or the powers
Say
she
that
gets.
aloud, so she knows I don't believe her.
Okay, so you say that.
Dude, rude.
Yeah, that's very rude.
She pauses a moment as if caught a little bit off guard. You could tell she's not much of a diplomat. She says, "Fair. I have enemies that I need this power to protect myself from." She says, "I don't really want to go into it more than that. Suffice to say, I have no quarrel with your group, or this Queen Dinara, as long as she does not have a quarrel with me. You've been here a while. Do you know where the other altars in the city are?"
We do, and that could be part of exchange of useful services that we can help each other with. But we have to know what the extent of your ability to control undeads in general is. Can you control every type of undeads or just a certain type?
She says, "No. I think that the influence would mostly be over these ghouls. I was able to control the banshees because of my study of the magics in the area, or at least, well, she says not control them, but make them leave me alone, as well as those who are with me. The same thing with the golems. I don't. Well, I don't think I could control other types of undead, though I haven't gotten all the altars yet. Do you
I
know
mean,
who?
Well,
Do you know who the other necromancer is that is controlling the ghouls, or is there one?
well, like I
uh,
said, I was happy to trade that information for how you are able to use this altar to gain more influence over them.
Uh, she says, "I have certain rituals I've used. I don't know if I want to share my exact ritual with you, though, Schroeder. No offense, you seem very nice. I just don't know if I trust you yet."
That is
so,
fair. Perhaps a
Elodie,
trade in altar locations for that information then.
She says, "And what would keep you from just usurping my power and taking control of them yourself?"
Very fair question. I would be more than happy to come to an arrangement on which altars would be yours and potentially any for me as well.
Give me a persuasion check on that.
Persuasion. Great rolls
actually,
for my shitty score.
we feel the intense interest in that subject.
She says, "Is there something else besides the altars you desire?"
I'm not too familiar with anything else you would have to offer that would interest another necromancer like myself.
She says, "The reason I ask is that these altars give exponential power. So someone controlling three of them is a much greater effect than someone controlling like, say, two and then another person controlling one. So if I could gain all three, it would be, I think, a more valuable resource to me and possibly your group."
Can we have a? Can you give us a minute to discuss,
And she just
Lodi?
shrugs and says, "Certainly.
uh,
I am,
before bef-
yeah.
before we do that, though, what do you know about Isik and what happened to Isik?
I know there was a great. She says, I don't know the exact details. History is not my strong suit, but I believe there was some sort of ritual that happened here that killed everyone. Or she wouldn't say ritual, she would say some kind of event happened here that killed everyone. I don't know much of the details, but from my studies, it seems to be related to some kind of necrotic energy.
Okay.
She kind of says as she walks out. I'll think about what I could trade to you and your group for the information, but I would be happy to use the ghouls to assist your group, if that could be a trade. I don't know if there's anything you seek, but a ghoul horde could be quite useful.
Indeed, it can.
I will meet you at your home room over there. Can
Yeah,
we do like a telepathic bond? Sure.
yeah. So
Yeah.
you hear her walking down the hallway.
Let's have that conversation telepathically, shall we?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll be setting up that telepathic bond.
So, huh. So we know
I knew I
about.
should have studied these more.
So how many do we know? We know at least two, so that's the third one that this one we didn't know
This
about.
is either the third or fourth one that we didn't know about.
Yeah,
Because there's one
so
at the cathedral, there's one right next to Chiron.
yeah, there's
No,
one
there's the
which
cathedral, there's Chiron, or there's the cathedral, and then there's the one in the tunnels under the keep. It's not next to Chiron; it's in the same
It's
area
like
yeah,
though.
right above him.
Yeah, it's above him.
yeah.
So
So
this is
that's
the
the one.
third one.
This is the third one we know now.
So here's a question. I got two questions for everybody. So one is, we could ask her if we give her the location of these things, we could get her to use the ghouls to find crystals for us. Alternatively, if these things are so powerful, maybe they can be used to charge big crystals or something like that. So we don't actually have to hurt anyone, and we can get the power we need for what we'd rather be doing than this.
Well, there is still one more question that I should probably ask her is if two people can hold power over the same altar. Because she
More,
says that it amplifies the necrotic powers. If it's possible to share that, then that would be very helpful towards anything we have to do in terms of a large invasion.
Morris says, I don't think it's safe. I think we should kill this necromancer and destroy these altars, and then
Fuck no.
just kill the undead. Tal, back me up here.
Definitely agree that we can't give her that amount of power. We barely know her. We don't know anything about her motives.
So we shouldn't even like if we trade the power and so clearly she doesn't know about Malek or Gaivok. She doesn't know about the Shadowlord, or she doesn't tell.
Yeah,
You don't think she knows about them, Tal?
if she doesn't know who
you
was
don't
controlling them,
you don't take her for being very deceptive. She's yeah, you're pretty sure she's been mostly truthful, other than not telling you everything.
yeah, if she doesn't know who was controlling them, then she doesn't know about the Bodak, she doesn't know about the Alhun, she doesn't know about the Shadowlords.
We haven't even
So
asked her that.
The Bodak were the ones that were originally controlling the ghouls, along with the Alhun, and
Well, and it
the
sounded like
Shadowlords were basically controlling all of them.
the Alhoun might be controlling the ghouls again to some extent, because they're no longer just wandering the city. Remember?
Yeah, and those are probably the ones, along with possibly some Bodak, that are controlling the leftover ghouls that she hasn't gained control of.
Yeah, it sounds like she has a pretty small force compared to the overall, city-wide ghoul population.
do we want to get rid of her before she becomes more? She discover on her own the two other and maybe others we don't know yet about, or
Well,
how
I mean, there's a
do we
big. I
handle
mean, like, do we want her to use some of these ghouls to help thin the ranks of the soft spires? Like, maybe we don't have to let her know about all of them. Maybe let her know about one of them, in exchange for the use of our ghoul army or something. I don't know.
Well, if we give her the second one, then she has more power exponentially than Schroeder can have with only one. So
Well,
right now, Schroeder still has an edge because we know two of the obsidian location, and if Schroeder managed to get to do the same thing she's doing, Schroeder will be more powerful.
well,
Yeah, but
there's
like,
most likely more than just the two that we know about.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if we find more, we don't have to tell her about those ones. And if I watch her do the ritual on the next one, I may possibly be able to figure out what the ritual is, or how to do it at least.
True. So you would say like exchanging the next ritual to watching her, so you can learn the ritual yourself.
Yeah, basically an exchange of necromantic knowledge.
But then it is a bet that we find another of these black altar, because we don't know any more than there's only two that we know of so far
That we found, yes.
that we found. So it would be, so if she's getting the ritual on the second one, if we don't find another ritual, she has the upper hand in terms of controlling the undead.
Yeah. And like, if she turns out to, like, betray us in any fashion, or we get the hint that she's going to, we could potentially lay a trap for her by having her meet Zana, and Zana gets a nice snack.
So you're suggesting that we tell her one of the location, have you study the ritual she's doing, and then kind of bring her to good graces toward us through that information.
Hmm.
What do you guys think? Bellfire, Tal?
yeah, whatever you guys want.
I think one more altar is fine, but we shouldn't give her too much power.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
More,
letting her get
more just
three would
size.
be way too much power for her to obtain, given how many ghouls she can get with just one.
The Raven Queen
So
will not be happy with this. These ghouls should be put down.
They could be put down later, maybe.
They'll be put
Necromancers.
down when they go fight the humans.
All right.
so I think so we should kind of negotiate that as part of her being part of our alliance over the. Should we mention the alliance and try to kind of order in by exchanging the location of one of the altar, in, plus the ritual.
Well, showing that we have that alliance would actually go towards her possibly just trying to be in our good graces more, knowing that we have a much larger force than just the four of us.
True.
So it would be in her best interest to be with us than against us.
Okay, so we would have our kind of pledge to the alliance and to using the gold to the benefit of our alliance and ISEC. And
Yeah,
then we tell her, okay, I'm fine with that,
Oh,
unless
I would like
anybody
to
has
know who
any.
she's running from. In that case,
that might be something that Schroeder would be able to get out of her on a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, Tal, you did suspect that she was attracted a bit to Schroeder with your
yeah.
insight.
Sorry, Balefire.
No, it's all right.
uh, also, the what was their name? Crimson, whatever.
Dagger?
Um,
Crimson Blade.
Crimson Blade. Like she's like a fugitive. She got kicked out of the university. Would she? And they had a Crimson Dagger, a Crimson Blade guy with them. Would he immediately recognize her?
He might. If depends on if she's wanted or not.
But Oh.
Well, she wouldn't necessarily need to be at the group meeting there.
We're traveling with them though too.
But aligning ourselves with her might put us in a worse position as well.
I mean, I think it's
Um,
more just so because she's a necromancer.
well, hold on that thought, Tal. We are going to be.
Let's do. Sorry to interrupt. Let's do a quick 5 minute break. If you guys want to talk more, you can. I just gotta
Right?
step away for a moment. I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. I've got to walk the dog real quick.
Yeah, so just one thing I would point out is that we are going to be at odds with the Empire already by defending or isolating Isaac from the Empire. The Empire never had like a free city. That's what we're trying to do with Isaac and keep the control of the vault. Someone in the
Also,
Empire do know about the
also,
vault. We have to,
also,
yeah,
we're gonna be at odds with them because we're siding with an undead queen.
yes, yes.
They very clearly have a disdain for the necromancy. I am a necromancer, and we're
And the
siding
Shadow
with
Dragon.
and a shadow dragon. Like, we already have multiple reasons for the Empire to be at odds with us to begin with.
It might still not come to that.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I mean, it might come to it will be us against the Empire, because as soon as so the vault, the information about the vault is not as widely known um, as obviously the fate of Isaac, but there is people among the Blackwater that have that know about the vault. They don't know what it contains, like we do now, but they know about its existence. So there's, and this is one of the things we'll see when you suggested for the Soft Spire to start their own city nearby. That's a great thing for us to see if they are actually telling the truth about why they're interested in Isaac.
I mean, if someone goes to the wall, we're at odds with that individual or group, but not the Empire as a whole.
I'm not sure I caught your meaning. Can you rephrase that?
Like, I don't know. We can keep whoever wants to get into the vault. We can keep them out and not be at odds with the Empire. Like, it's not official Empire business to invade Isaac to get to the contents of the vault or anything.
I mean, they've made it pretty clear that the Empire's business is regulating magic. And the Vault is probably pretty high on their priority list in terms of regulating magic.
So now, Tal has a point. It is unclear if the Empire at the highest level knows about the vault. We are pretty sure that the Blackwaters know, and they influence the Empire, but maybe the Soft Spire or the Esmera do not know actually about the vault. They certainly haven't mentioned anything.
They haven't mentioned it, but they've also been leaving out a lot of like main reasons of why they're here. And Tal already got a vibe for that they were leaving out key pieces of info. They're not being completely honest on why they're here.
And we know that they are here on behalf of the Empire because clearly the expedition has been decided by the Council. So if they have like secret reason, we don't know if that's Empire reasons or family reasons.
The
And
Empire agreed to the expedition. They didn't order it or anything.
no, the council did
the Council
basically
did.
order these two families to go here.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's what I understood too.
I thought it was that other family that suggested it, and the council just agreed.
It was brought up as a
good
point
point.
of interest by that family, but the council all agreed on that topic and sent these two families.
We can clarify with Lou about what our understanding is about the role of the council here, because yeah, it may be what Tal is saying, or maybe I misunderstood.
Yeah, but also like thinking on it like as a whole, why else would they really choose now? And what else would they gain from taking over an undead city like this instead of just rebuilding a new one?
Like,
There's no
wait, what do you think?
real point.
Why they chose now?
Choosing now doesn't like I don't see any reason why now would be any different than 50 years ago or 50 years from now.
Yeah, I agree
Exactly.
with that.
And there's no real benefit to taking back this city from the undead versus making a new city that is in a similar beneficial position to this one.
And we know the Blackwater had this site on the vault, and clearly was working from shore. So the relation to the Blackwater and their influence in the Empire is not something that we can completely ignore.
Well, that's something that's also a little bit up in the air. We don't know when Blackwater was possessed, for lack of a better term.
Oh, that is true.
So that whole idea of coming here may have just been Malik's in the first place.
I mean,
So we
also
don't
this
know if the
Blackwater,
Blackwater family actually knows about the vault itself.
this Blackwater is also kind of an outcast in the first place.
This Blackwater is also dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so you're saying that there is a possibility
All right,
that
I'm
the
back.
Blackwater family as a whole would not know about the vault or its research.
Yeah, we don't have enough information to go off of to know who knows about the vault.
So, Lou, we needed a clarification about our understanding of the decision of the Council of the Empire to send the two families. Was that like Tal is kind of. What are you saying, Tal?
Saying that, like, this second family, they brought the issue up and the council agreed to that. And you were saying that the council basically decided that this needs to be done.
That send them. Yeah, so which one is it from what we heard
Which
from
one
some.
is which one is what?
We're basically
So
asking what was the order of uh what's the word? Uh basically what was the decision making and who made the decisions and orders for the families to come here? Did the council order them to come here, or did a family just bring it up and they were like, oh, okay,
So
these two families
generally,
can go?
from Tal, from your knowledge of the council, generally issues are brought before them by either families or powerful people within the empire. They come to an agreement, and then it is kind of executed, whatever they agree to. So there's probably, Tal, you would guess there was a discussion on how this was to be handled, and families or representatives of the families probably volunteered to be involved in this. And then they were given orders and priorities and, like, yeah, just generally how this would be handled. So you're guessing that the Softspire and the Izmira wanted to be part of this new city or part of its controlling factions, so they probably volunteered and were given the okay.
but
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 so
so it's
necessarily the
something
ones
that
bringing
the
it
entire council agreed on.
I mean, there could be dissenting opinions, but the
But
council,
majority.
yes, the majority of the council okayed this project, which sounds like is kind of start. Well, from what you, I guess, yeah, from what you spoke to with Softspire, it sounds like they were trying to first get an idea of what was going on, then possibly a secondary, objective of restoring order and taking control.
But I don't know if it was more like okay, you guys can do this if you want to, or someone has to do this, please volunteer?
It was probably more the latter. They came to a decision, then they assigned agency to other families. You know that Blackwater, Patience Blackwater, is the second seat of the council, which is the second most powerful position within the Empire. But yeah, it's probably more the latter. It's probably more this needs to be done. And then these two, it was agreed that these families who volunteered should be the ones who did it. Probably because the Softspire and the Asmira representatives, use their influence to become become those who are put in charge.
Exactly, the Blackwater didn't want to be front and center.
I mean, you don't know what the Blackwater family's position, if they were a for or against, but they definitely knew about this happening, or if Patience even knows her son's here or what's going on.
Well, actually, that's a question we can ask to Elodie. She came with a Softspire. She may have heard rumors about the council decision, and we can maybe at least ask her how much of the council decision she knows about that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's not a bad thing to ask. I do have one question. Would Tal know if the council's voting system is equilateral, or if the seated positions hold more power over the others? Like their votes hold more sway?
So yeah, as a judge, Tal, you know that the positions hold more sway. So like the first seat has more sway than the second, who has more sway than the third. I believe there are 10 council members. I'd have to go double check that though. There are 10 families who rule the empire.
It's more than likely that the Blackwater family passed this motion.
Well, they certainly would have had more influence.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying it's more than likely. It's not guaranteed, but
yes, it's not guaranteed.
If their position is second, then it's more than likely they agreed to this.
Yes, likely.
Yeah, so let's. So the deal with Elodie is okay. We give you the second ritual. You let Schroeder examine your ritual making. You kind of align with our alliance here to protect Isik from the Empire influence, and we go from there.
That sounds good, and I don't know when you guys would want Schroeder to possibly have a one-on-one conversation with her about what she had interest in and possibly gaining more trust with her. But if we can get more trust with her, I feel like she'd be a lot more open to any agreements.
Well, and I have a question for Tal. Actually, Tal, are you behind trying to make Isik a free city, allied with the Empire, but a free city separate from the Empire? Is that something you can go along with?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume as long, Tal, I would guess that as long as it's not costing lives, right? Because your character seems to be about the preservation of life and justice.
Or about preservation of civilization, so war is sometimes necessary.
Okay, I just needed to double check your alignment. No, that makes perfect sense. So you're not necessarily against these undead having a place as long as, it was set up so there was order.
As long as they are reasonable and there's order, yeah.
Okay. So you're heading back?
Yep.
I think Balefire is still not here.
I'm here. I'm
okay.
Balefire just kind of doesn't care about any of this.
He's like, I just want to.
I just didn't hear anything from you since the break, so wanted to make sure.
That's fine. Yeah, just the only thing I would add is if we're gonna have to convince LOE or LOD about something, then give me a summary of what we're trying to do so that I can be involved with the persuasion.
Just the trade of the location for the second altar,
Uh-huh.
and for basically her alliance with us and our main alliance, and me being able to at least watch the ritual.
All right, and in what order are those things happening? Do we want her support in attacking or in, I don't know,
Support in the
uh,
alliance,
the show
basically.
of force first? You know, like because we know we're gonna have a face-to-face meeting soon. So like what order do we want this?
Uh, we
When we
can
say
basically introduce her to Dinara if we need to, because that's on the way, and basically have her agreement with the alliance on the way to the second altar. Because I don't think we need the show of the ghouls
okay,
necessarily. We just
right.
need them to protect the city.
Okay, so we're gonna tell her. So we'll show you where there's an altar.
We're
On the
talking
way
about
there.
we're talking about the butcher altar, right? The one above Charon's library. We're
Yeah,
not
we can
talking
go to
about
that
the
one.
other one. Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
so we'll offer her the location of that particular altar in exchange for Schroeder being able to watch her perform her ceremony, and if we end up in an altercation uh, with the soft spires, then she'll help with the ghouls in our alliance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And
So
actually, just one thing I would bring, we should tell her about the nature of the alliance, so that she's not taken aback by the fact that Dinara is a race, and we have a shadow dragon and warforged. So I think we should tell her that.
And probably just mention that she doesn't like talking about her state as a shadow dragon. It's a
Yes.
sensitive
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
all right.
The girls can figure that out amongst themselves. Oh,
Fine, I will inform her of that.
that's right. Yep.
All right. Well, as you leave the room, you would see there is a ghoul to the north that seems to just be sitting there. It kind of hisses at you a bit and then turns to leave as if it wants you to follow it.
Yep.
Okay.
So it just kind of goes back this way. And it will lead you back to her room.
Alright. So I figured.
And yeah, basically, she will greet you and say, have you come to a consensus? Does your group have a name? Perhaps I've heard of you.
Oh,
Like, are you a mercenary group within the Empire?
No.
we're not. We don't necessarily work for the Empire,
I
but
see.
we call ourselves the Shadowstalkers.
Oh, well, Shadowstalkers, have you come to a consensus?
We have. We would like to offer you the location of a black altar in exchange for you letting Schroeder watch you take control of that for her research, and then essentially joining our alliance to defend the city. Our current alliance is the Wraith Queen of Isik, Dinara. It's a shadow dragon that resides in the keep, and a community of Warforged that reside um, in the whatchamacallit cathedral.
I see. Well, two of those sound very exciting. Although I will say a Warforged group sounds intriguing as well. I believe I can do that. I will offer any help I can in exchange for your knowledge of You said you know of the location of one altar other than this one? Or did you say two? I forget.
Yes, an altar that is fairly close to the main keep.
Alright. Did you say you only knew of one other altar, or did you tell her about that you knew two altars?
We didn't say how many we knew.
Okay. She would just flat out ask, how many altars do you know of?
I haven't been paying attention. Schroeder?
Telepathically, Balefire would. We should probably tell her we just know of the one for now.
We know that
But
this
we've
one
been searching for others.
Yeah, we're continually searching the city for more. So if we find more, we can bring you that information later.
Give me a deception check.
Oh man, that 20 is right next to the 2 on the die that rolled.
She says, are you sure you only know of the one?
And what are your final goals here? Let's call it good for right now. Let's go one step at a time here.
She laughs and says, fair enough. Alright, if you can get me access to this first altar, then I will agree to what you've asked. I will
Of course.
join this alliance of yours and do what I can with my ghouls. I don't promise I'll do anything you ask, but I'll do what I can within reason.
Of course. One piece of
She
advice,
says,
if you plan on talking with the Shadow Dragon, she is very sensitive when it comes to her disposition as being a Shadow Dragon. She did not exactly consent to being changed from her original color.
Would I be speaking directly to this dragon? I more thought I would be acting through your group.
I'm saying if the occasion arises where you do speak with her.
Alright, I'll try to keep that in mind. I do have one other condition. She says, I would like to speak more with you, Schroeder, as you fascinate me a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, I would be happy to speak with you more.
Alright. She
Catch up with
says,
you later.
then we are agreed.
That would probably be more of a nighttime activity since she would probably want to go to the altar now.
Are you saying that out loud?
I would say that telepathically and then
okay.
ask her what she would currently like to do.
I would like to see this altar, please.
Of course.
She says, excellent. Which, you're bringing her to the butcher
The one
altar,
above
right?
Chiron and yeah.
Okay. So at this point, it's probably about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. You've been traveling for a while through the tunnels.
I would ask her if she needs to bring her ghouls with her because we could get there faster. Would it be faster to teleport back to Lady Dinara's area?
Actually, there is a tunnel that you could take that leads pretty much to the keep basement. It might actually be fast. Well,
Yeah, it is faster because that's the way we came in. We came from the tunnel. I remember. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the
And yeah.
Empire doesn't see us with her.
true.
Yeah, and telepathically, I would say let's keep the location of the circle of teleportation to us for now.
Yeah.
She says, excellent. So the group's kind of like up here right now, underground.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because the first time we left this area, we left like right there next to the lake.
Yep.
Yeah. So you are traveling through the tunnels. She's going to keep her undead with her for now while we're underground. So you have a group of about 20 or so ghouls moving through the tunnels with you.
I'll ask if she's named them.
She says, no, there's too many of them to keep track.
Fair
She
enough.
says, I do have a few favorites that I leave behind, but none of these are
As,
named.
as we pass here, we're kind of leading through the ruins to see if there's any traces of Halun still around.
Oh
I'm
well,
just looking for that.
you're underground right now.
Oh, okay, you're
The
underground.
Alhoun
Yeah.
were on the surface.
Yeah.
So yeah, you come in underneath the keep into another area that I think you all have mapped, but just to double check.
I don't think Tal has mapped
Yeah,
the altar area.
I think
Oh,
we're
okay.
doing them.
Well then, I'll have you come in through the map.
Because
Yep.
that's where. Oh, up there. I don't think we have that up top right corner mapped.
Yeah, actually we don't.
Oh, okay.
No.
So then you would be
So,
new to this area. She actually knows of this area.
yeah, we've been here, 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 and here. Those are the upper borders that we have.
She says these tunnels used to be dangerous as large skeleton creatures were roaming them, but recently
Ah, the
they.
bone claws. Yes.
Oh, well, recently they have not. I have not seen them. I don't know what happened to them. They weren't undead. They were constructs of some kind. But yeah.
Is she not talking about the bone claws?
You think
No.
she's talking about the skeletal monstrosities?
Ah, those ones, yes.
Oh wait, Mora's not here. Tal.
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention Chiron.
Nope. No, we shouldn't. No, for now.
Yeah, probably not. I'll just keep a mental note of that.
So she is gonna leave her. Well, she'll bring them. So there's an area filled with bones that you enter into.
Ooh.
Yeah, like you said, you. I don't think you've been up here.
Yeah, no. I definitely would have taken note of that.
Looks like a lot of skeletons have been put here for storage.
Storage.
She looks around. She says, "This place makes me a bit nervous." So as you move forward, Tal, what is your passive perception?
24.
24. So you would see the bones begin to move as they start to coalesce.
Yeah, skeleton right here.
Give me one moment.
Yeah.
As a large creature stands up. I need initiative rolls. And sorry, one moment. Where is it? Elodie kind of motions for her ghouls to stay back as she knows the AoE of these things will just decimate them. She
Yeah.
says, "Can you defend us?"
Of course.
Stand back.
She's kind of impressed by your smug reply. Like, of course, easy. All right, so the first act, as this creature stands up, is going to be The creature goes first. All right, so maybe caught off guard a bit. You all ready your weapons, but it moves into engage. It's going to use its multi-attack. Just in case you forgot.
Yeah.
I don't think Tal is with us for the first encounter of these guys.
Oh, this is his first time meeting these. Okay.
Yep.
Fought those things before somewhere else.
Oh, right, you did. You only fought. That's right, in the other game. Okay. So. Yeah, it steps forward. And it draws 2 large great swords. And it is going to swing at Balefire first. 20 versus AC.
At this point, yeah, do I get a reaction?
Yes. You're not surprised.
I will cast shield.
Oh crap. So as it swing at you, you throw your hand up, knocking the greatsword back. Go ahead and spend your reaction on the spell.
Yep.
And it swings its second greatsword at Tal, which you sidestep, dodging. Balefire.
Alright, I will start by blade singing.
Okay.
It's under features. And, right, there we go. So I'm blade singing. I will draw my whip and my sword.
Okay.
It's the little sword icon. There we go. And I will go ahead and move up here into a flank.
Okay.
And I will.
So you would note that a bunch of spiny bones are exploding off of this thing. Just
All right.
FYI.
Yeah, that's good to note. So that was a 5, 10, 15 to get here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead.
I said, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then I will go ahead and green flame blade this thing.
Oh, these bones are difficult terrain, so it would be 30 feet to get there.
Not for him.
I got to bring a free action.
Right, okay. So you attack with the flank, stabbing at the creature. Well, you stab at him, but you unfortunately don't hit hard enough to do any damage, and your rapier just sort of deflects off of his body.
Yeah. And I'll stay here for a round to give my buddies flanks, despite the thing that's coming.
So there are explosions of spines, spiny bones dealing 8 piercing to you.
There's no, like...
Nope, you're just showered with a bunch of bones. You go, god damn it, because they're everywhere.
Alright. Hurt for 8. Alright.
Pew, 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 pew. Schroeder.
I would like to know its health.
Sure. I changed it so that is now a bonus action. Any type of checks for like knowledge or medicine for the health is a bonus. So you're going to use a bonus action.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the only thing I really do with my bonus action is like Misty Step.
Yeah, no worries. Just letting you know. It has that many hit points.
That's what I thought. Goodbye.
Alright, so you cast Banishment on it.
DC 18.
Saving throw. Charisma? Yeah, charisma.
Yep.
Bye-bye. Alright, so it disappears. At this point, you have a minute. I'm assuming you're not wanting to play out a full minute in turns. So what does the group want to do?
Figured we're just gonna keep going.
Well, you know what? Actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm going to keep an initiative for now. Anything else, Schroeder?
Uh, are we just gonna keep going? I'm assuming
Yeah.
she's just gonna gain control of it once she has the pedestal. So I will move 30 feet.
Remember, she said these are not undead. These are
They're
technically
not.
constructs.
No.
So
And
she doesn't think she can gain control of these.
That's totally fine. I mean, we can. We don't have to
we can
destroy
still
it
just
this time.
avoid it.
Yeah, we can just avoid it. Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You are in my way. Whatever. I'll move here.
Yep.
All right. Calgrod.
Alright, so I move here, open the door
So
south.
as you move there, there is more rustling from the bones down the hall,
Uh-oh.
which is why I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, you might not just walk away right now. As another
Alright.
one pops out, for raises from the bones on the floor. Uh, do you want to keep going through the door, or do you want to do something else?
Yeah, I'm using my free action to open the door.
Okay. So you push the door open southward.
Alright, this is the path. Yep, folks, that's where we are. We can probably all fit in the over there. So I am going to send Dija actually 40 feet charging on this guy. Use a bonus action to try to maul him. And make him prone actually. Well, let's see if that works.
All right.
Dija, where is my Dija? Attack resources. There you go. Sorry, I had
So
to load that.
Deja rushes
Uh,
him.
yep. So going to charge and going to try to maul.
Okay. Yes,
18.
18 would
Nice.
strike. So Deja rips at his bones, doing 18 slashing damage, or 14.
Yep. So he has to make a DC, a strength save, or be not prone.
Nope, he would fail it. So he kind of stumbles backward as there's a big bunch of crunching noises as he falls prone.
So I will dodge and I will kind of indicate to Elodie and the ghouls to go down that corridor and for the others to do whatever they want.
All right, so Deja would take 8 points of damage at the end of its turn. His spines shoot out everywhere.
Okay.
Tal.
I want to look down this corridor. There's no more skeletons I can see.
No, not that you can see. Alright, so you chant casting another banishment.
Also, DC 18.
Nice.
Bunch of cheaters. Alright.
Yes.
This one disappears as well.
Like I said, of course.
At this point, you can just move down the hallway if you want.
Yep.
So
think
I
that-
will say combat ends here.
I think that's a good inspiration for Elodie to see what can happen.
Elodie looks pretty impressed by this. She says, wow, it's, I should look into that banishment spell. I guess necromancy isn't all there is to magic. And she smiles. All right, so you quickly move past these things, knowing that they'll be back soon. She says, well, I guess I'm not going back that way. Come, ghouls. And they all just rush through. Actually, you know what? At this point, she's going to say, I'll just send them home. I might need to travel quietly. So she sends them back to the lair as she moves through. Schroeder, you going through the door so I can shut it?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Balefire.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
He fell asleep on the top of the bone. Oh, shoot.
So
Hey, maybe it's
comfortable.
comfy.
It's like,
Kind of ride the bone pile.
why won't you ever just let me fight things? All right. So you head south into the more known areas leading
Yep.
her to the altar. Go ahead and you can just move there.
Well, I'm making sure Tal has
Yeah. That's what I mean.
the
You don't have to.
area.
All right. So LOD is very happy. She says, "Oh, I knew I should have gone past those bone creatures. I knew there would be something in this area. This one's even larger."
There was other things other than those bone monstrosities down here, so
Uh,
alone it may have been quite the challenge.
Says, "Yes, I would have lost a large portion of my army fighting those things." You would note as she approaches this altar, a pendant around her neck begins to glow, very faintly. She walks up to the altar and examines it. She says, "All right, I need about an hour."
I'm sitting on the first bench.
She says, "Is there anything of danger in this area that might sneak up on us, or are we safe here?"
We'll
Looks
be
like
keeping watch.
the doors were destroyed by something.
Yeah, us.
The last time we were here, there were some unwanted visitors in the Alhoun and ghouls and even a fire elemental.
Are you the ones that moved the stone pews?
Yes, we were using them as barricades.
Interesting. All right. Well, give me some time. So is. Or go ahead.
I mean, Shoda, how confident are you that you replicate that ritual just by watching it?
Seeing the pendant glow when it goes near it, if that has any component value to her ritual, it might be a little difficult, but I should be able to copy it. Do I have any inkling of if I would be able to replicate it just by watching and studying it with my
Uh,
intelligence or whatnot?
do you have a photographic memory feat? I don't
No,
think you do. So,
I didn't realize that was a feat.
yes, I think I forget what it's called. There's the feat that lets you like automatically recall anything you've seen within like the last month. It's basically like a photographic memory.
Ah,
I think it also gives you a point of intelligence,
I think
but
it's in mine, right?
yeah, something like that. But without having it written down, you would be. It's a maybe. You don't know for sure. Like just copying a ritual from watching it, it's getting it like it's hard to do. Getting it exact because there's a
yeah,
lot of
I'm
details involved. It would be a lot
yeah, and that
easier if she showed you how to do it.
yeah, that's something I might be able to get the information from her directly, and
Though I
if
will
nothing else,
say,
watching it.
yeah, watching it, given time and experimentation, you might be able to replicate it, but it would probably take a lot
Yeah,
longer. It would
Would
definitely
true
help
seeing
to see it.
help? I mean, would true seeing help him?
Only if there's some kind of invisible creature or something involved. I think true seeing just what does it do? It gives you
It's this.
uh
as they actually are.
true sight. So only if there's some kind of secret like illusion she's using to mask her ritual, which I guess is possible, but it's not going to help with just remembering.
Then never mind.
Okay.
I mean, isn't remembering things based on intelligence?
Yes, though exact remembering is a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, but the higher the intelligence, the more you would be able to remember from an encounter.
Yeah, and it would be kind of based, like I said, like you probably have to do experimentation, and it's
Yeah,
possible, but it would be safer if she just told you. In any event, she's going to start her ritual, and I'll try to pass the hour unless any of you are doing anything.
Not on.
So she begins to scatter some arcane components in the area. And you do notice her pendant continues to glow as she does this. She kneels down in front of the altar, tracing little lines over some of the markings. The lines begin to glow. Her eyes begin to take on a dark, shadowy hue as she begins to, it seems like, assert her power over this altar.
Are we still telepathically bonded, or is too much time passed?
Probably not, unless you want to cast it again.
Nah.
I mean, I can spend the time while she's doing this to do that again.
Okay. So time is passing. Are you doing the telepathic bond?
Yeah, may as well.
Okay, so you're casting your spell, which might make her curious what you're doing, but she's not going to interrupt her work. She says something else is connected. Is that a mind flayer? Something is fighting me.
There's a good chances it's
Do you need my assistance?
Please, Schroeder, if you could. She says, just kneel next to me for a moment. And she takes your hand fairly gently and places it on the altar. She says, if you could channel a powerful sphere of magic into the altar, it would help me while I do the same. So she wants you to spend a spell.
Spell slot? Okay.
Yeah, spell slot.
I don't think I'm really going to be using my 6th spell. So.
As Schroeder is kneeling, I'm going to approach Schroeder and touch him with a warding bond. Touch her with a warding bond.
Oh,
Thank
if she
you.
takes damage? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I'll spend a 6th level spell slot. Why not?
Alright. So that gives her advantage. She says, alright, I believe I've overcome it. Thank you. Do you want to stay there with her, or do you want to move back?
If she doesn't ask me to move back, I will stay as close as possible to get as much info as possible.
Okay. So you use this as an excuse to stay close. She doesn't seem to mind. But after the half hour more of time passes, she would sigh as she completes her work. She seems tired. Her pendant is no longer glowing strangely, but she smiles and says, it's done. I have it.
Wonderful.
She says, I now
guessing that
1,000 ghouls. She says, I've also
that is
sensed
exponential.
other undead in the area. I believe it is your sword wraiths and some sort of vampire group. I don't know if I can control them, but I have so much more vision of this place. And she just smiles again. Yes.
I would say
excellent.
if you are able to assert control over the vampires, feel free, but we would appreciate not trying to dominate the sword wraiths, as they are loyal to Queen Dinara.
Says, well, this will all take much more research and study, but for now I have the ghouls at least.
I'm guessing I haven't seen a spell book, have I?
She hasn't taken one out. I mean, she has like a pouch and a backpack, and I mean, she could have one. She might not have it on her.
I would ask if her pendant is her arcane focus.
No, the pendant was it's sort of a family heirloom. It helps me focus my magic, but it is not in and of itself an arcane focus. I still use material components. And you did notice she has a components pouch on her side.
Yeah.
But I believe I'm done here. Thank you all. I owe you greatly. This has been more successful than I imagined. There's even more power that I unlocked than I thought there'd be.
Okay then.
Now, do you know of another one, by chance?
Not right now, but I'm sure we'll find one.
She
Yes,
says,
perhaps your ghouls would be able to assist in searching for one. I'm not sure if you're able to speak with them, but having 1,000 bodies searching for more would always be helpful.
she says, I will.
Actually, if you do that, there is something that we are also seeking in that town that your groups can help. We're looking for some kind of gems we've heard are here. I'm trying to
I
watch
still have an
here.
empty one, so I would pull that out and show it to her. We'd be looking for smaller versions of these that still have necromantic power in them.
What is that?
They're basically soul gems.
She
They are
goes to take it
gems
from
that
you.
hold, that can store power. And these are basically makeshift ones that a very powerful entity made, but the
So,
original versions are called power stones. These are ones filled with necromantic energies.
so she examines it closely. She says, "Oh yes, this is genius. This container I could see was designed to hold necrotic energies. Who created this? I didn't even know something like this existed."
We didn't either until we arrived here. We ended up not necessarily killing, but defeating the person that had made this. They were the reason this place is now a dead city.
She says, I've never seen such technology, such a well crafted necrotic implement. What was the name of this person? Perhaps I know who they are."
Asshole 1 and asshole 2.
Balefire says from the back.
uh,
Mumbles
I
from
would
the corner.
say, yeah, I would say telepathically, there's no harm in telling her the Shadowlords or talking
Uh,
to her about the Shadowlords, right?
You just don't
let's
have to
not.
give me shit about what I tell my girlfriends.
Let's not. We can tell the name, but let's not talk about Shadow Lords. Let's keep
Yeah, the
that for
name, just
ourselves.
not what they are.
Yeah.
She
Uh,
says, I can
That
certainly,
was telepathically, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course.
She says, well, seeing your hesitation, she says, I can certainly keep an eye out for these. You say they are somewhere within the city?
yes, we found some spread out haphazardly almost.
She says, strange. I would have thought my ghouls would have seen some when I had them exploring. Maybe they're more rare.
Possibly. We don't know how many there are total in the city, but we have found a few and had to use them to power things.
Schroeder, give me an Arcana check at this point. And actually, anyone. With Arcana or Religion might tell you something.
Yeah.
29. So, Schroeder, you'd think that the way she's using these ghouls and undead in general is very strange. It almost sounds like she has more of a connection to them than a necromancer normally would. Like being able to tell them to search for something specific, or maybe, you don't know. It just seems like, especially the amount she can control, something seems strange. Like maybe something else is giving her these powers besides just being a necromancer.
Hold on, Fox. So telepathically, do we have the Shadow Lord returned here?
The what?
The Shadow Lord? Could she be one of the Shadow Lord returned?
I thought it took a year.
That's what I thought too. But that is odd.
Maybe it's a different
It
one.
took a year. No, it took a year for the one that was destroyed and the essence scattered. It could still be Gaivok.
Yep, it could still be Gaivok, but Gaivok knew about that altar, though.
So do we
Right?
call him? Do we just like call her Guyvok and see what she does? See if she blinks.
We could
Did
see
you
if she
get?
knows the name.
You didn't tell the name yet of the Shadowlord, right? So yeah, you
No.
could give her Gaivok
We could
instead
give
of Malek.
either name because the Gaivok would have a reaction to either name.
Yeah, but don't use the Malek name.
Alright.
Let's keep an eye on how she reacts.
I would say that yeah, the person that was holding control over them was Gaivok. Are you,
Just to make sure you don't know if Gaivok actually controlled the ghouls.
No, no, we don't. That's true.
we
You
knew
need.
he held power over some of the pedestals.
It was actually the Alhoons who were controlling the pedestals.
No, yeah,
No,
is that
Gaivok used one of the pedestals. I
He in
specifically remember him
he
use the cathedral one.
so he interacted with it to do something, and he interacted with the hollow point. I think you might be thinking of the hollow point, but he
No,
didn't.
he was upstairs at the pedestal that's in the top of it.
Yes, he interacted with it, but you don't know how much power he had over it because he didn't really tell you what he was doing. But anyway, you can assume he did. That's fine. So you mentioned Gaivok as being the original controllers. Tal, give me an insight
He
check.
just oh, Calgrad actually gave an insight.
Actually, either of you.
Inspiration,
Okay.
if you have it, maybe.
So you don't think that she doesn't react oddly to it. She just you say the name and she says, "Huh. No, I'm not familiar with that person." But the entity I encountered while wresting control of this altar was some sort of mind flayer. It seemed. I don't think.
Uh,
Could this be the
they
Gaivok
are
you speak of?
no, and it wasn't technically well. A mind flare isn't the proper term because they are actually well. I'm not sure which one you saw, but the ones we have encountered here have been undead. Alhoon.
She says, "No, it was a mind flare. The being I glimpsed for a moment was a living mind flayer. I'm familiar with what Alhoon are, but no, this was. It seemed like a living mind flayer.
Oh, we got some hunting
Interesting.
to do then.
Storm ring.
I thought all of the
Uh,
normal mind flayers were dead.
Tal, did you say mind storm out loud, or is this
Yeah,
in the head?
no, out loud.
So, oh, never mind. She just says, I don't know. But
That's
yes,
interesting. I didn't realize any of the mind flayers were still alive.
she says, "Oh, and with this pillar or with this altar, I know there is only one more, and it is being controlled by, I believe, this mind flayer entity."
So
Oh,
there is only one more.
we'll
Okay.
find it at some point. And I guess have to deal with the mind flayer, maybe.
She says, "I believe there's a way I can seal him or protect this altar from influence, much like I did with my own. I need time, though. Do you mind if I stay here for a day?"
I don't mind staying with her if you guys want to do something else.
Oh, we have to go talk to this. Well, I guess we don't have to go talk to Softspire. We were kind of supposed to talk to Softspire.
Well, we still need to figure out when Zana is going to talk
Uh,
with Ainara and all
Schroeder,
that.
Schroeder, give me a quick wisdom check. You might realize something.
Just a straight wisdom
Actually,
check.
Tal or anyone can make it. Any of you might realize something.
Just straight wisdom.
Probably, yeah.
Best save, never mind. Check is.
So what did you
Just,
get? You got a 17?
Yeah, it's not a save, correct? Just to
Yeah.
check. So
Yeah.
3.
Okay. So Balefire and Tal, when she says that, you wonder if she can seal influence from everyone, aka like maybe Schroeder wouldn't be able to access it after that.
Yeah, Schroeder, I tell you telepathically, maybe we should get the third altar under our control as soon as possible.
You might have to learn the spell from Chiron's library or something, since you didn't get all of it from watching her. Or did you?
That's another reason why I kind of wanted to stick with her. I could possibly see if she would allow me access to it and let me in on how she does it. Because she still doesn't know the location of it.
She
So
might. I mean, she knows there's exactly 3. Who knows what other information she got?
this is in your heads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did you say out loud, I would like to stay with her? If
I would ask her if she wouldn't mind.
she says no, not at all, I would be happy to have Schroeder stay with me. Smiles and takes your hand.
Get around.
Getting
We
wrong,
are in a
you
room.
two.
I don't want to be in this room. I'm not going to keep.
Yeah, she says it would be fine. Schroeder can stay. I would be happy to have a fellow necromancer here.
Do you really trust
Schroeder,
her that much?
yeah, that's a lot of trust here. Uh, Schroeder, you would be. Uh, that is a pretty dangerous position to put you in by yourself.
This is mental.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
unless she's able to stun me, I can get away.
Stun you with love.
Ah,
Sorry. Go ahead.
that's awesome.
It's your call.
Stunned.
I'm with Tal on that one. This is pretty sketchy here. Uh,
Can I
but
do a medicine check out of combat to see how much health she has?
Yeah, sure. She has.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
all right. Do you want to keep like maybe if by far like you kind of invoke your familiar and stay here, but it's so we can keep an eye. And not that I don't want to be a voyeur, but you know.
I think I'm out of find familiar components.
Oh,
What?
okay.
Did your
Mine is still
I didn't
alive.
think your familiar died.
Yeah, the last time he died, I don't think I brought him back.
Yeah, you can use actually familiar and in the action
Yeah.
channel to share it.
I mean, mine is still alive, but I feel kind of awkward about it. Just leave it here.
Give you guys your
Yeah,
privacy.
I'm not going to perv out on this. Sorry. I got my own perving to do somewhere else, so get my dragon love on.
All right. So we are going to we're heading toward here toward the library. Kind of we'll catch up with you guys. We have some exploring to do on our own. Not kind of giving away the location of the library or anything like that. And we're going to, well, at least I'm going to start moving out.
All right, so you're going downstairs.
Yeah.
All right, so the 4 of them leave. She would start laying out some more arcane components. You notice her touch her amulet, and she would say, "So Schroeder, tell me more about the Feywild where you come from. I didn't think necromancy was often practiced there. I thought that was more a product of the Shadowfell."
Normally, yes. However, my family was destroyed by a very powerful necromantic power that I believed to have been Gaivok that we dealt with. So
Oh,
I devoted myself to studying it.
this is the. That's why you mentioned his name, because you thought
Uh,
he had influence over these.
yes, I saw him interact with one, but
Hmm.
he turned out to be quite formidable and ended up going back to the Shadowfell.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Necromancy is certainly a destructive and disruptive force when used by some, but it can also be a force for great good, or at least a force for a powerful tool. I don't have to tell you this. I'm sure you've suffered the same stigmas as I have in your profession, especially being from someplace like the Feywild, where I imagine it's even more despised than here.
Yes, it's not exactly very well sought there.
She nods. She says, I would be interested in learning more about you if you're okay talking to me.
Of
I don't.
course, I'd be happy to share some information.
She says, I get the feeling your friends don't trust me.
We we have all been struck with different proclivities. As I mentioned, Gaivok, he was seemingly trying to help us at first, but as you know, he was very, well, you may not know, but he was very dangerous, and we ended up having to fight him instead, so they have their reservations for good reason.
And she nods. Says, well, I hope I can prove my loyalties to you all, especially if we're going to be working together. She says, I admit it's been a bit lonely here by myself, as much as I've enjoyed these times to research. So it'll be good to have other members of the living to interact with. Give me a insight check.
Insight. Where is that one? Oh, not the +3.
Okay. So you all kind of sit here. She's doing her ritual. She's talking to you. How forthright are you going to be about your past and like are you gonna engage with her? Are you gonna be standoffish? How are you gonna handle this?
Schroeder would have no issue talking about her past.
Okay. So you are doing well. She's doing the ritual. You're kind of sitting there observing, speaking to her. What is the rest of the group doing as the hours start to pass?
Going down to Karen and continuing our downtime.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say we could just hop back into downtime. So the day would pass quietly. These halls up here, yeah, nothing comes to bother you or her. Are you gonna do anything while she's doing this, Schroeder, other than speak with her?
Uh, no, I don't want to disrupt her ritual or anything like that.
Okay. So while you're downstairs, Mora is going to say to the group, did anyone else get the feeling that Elodie fancies Schroeder?
Yeah.
Wow, you pick things up very quickly.
Were you being, you sassing her?
He
Yeah.
was being
Okay.
facetious.
So
Facetious.
she gives you a stank eye. She's like, I just saying because I don't know if we should be leaving them alone. I mean, do you trust Schroeder to not be turned against us? I mean, how do we know what this Elodie's intentions are?
Rora is not gonna be turned, and he can look after his own. He made the decision to stay with her.
Her Schroeder's a woman, so you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
Schroeder's
sorry.
It's all good.
We make
It's
this
hard
mistake
to
all the
tell. I mean,
time.
she has a big cloak
Yeah,
on
you
and a
you literally
mask,
can't
so
even see my
you would
face.
you
So
would probably know because she has a feminine voice. But other than that, she just looks androgynous.
that was loud.
But more shrugs. She says, "I was just mentioning it. I don't know this Schroeder very well. I've only known her for like a week or so." All right, so another day passes.
Before the day ends, I want to cast sending at what's his name, Orcard again,
Jean-Luc.
and
Jean-Luc.
like just
No,
are you
he's
there?
testing to see if he will reply. So
Oh,
he's
I
to
see, I
Orcard.
see, I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
good call. Good call.
Okay. So you message or card. What do you say to him?
Are you there?
Just 3 words.
Yeah.
He would reply. He says he's not very magic knowledged. He says, "Who's there? What are you doing inside my head? Identify yourself."
Oh, I'm gonna call all the others and tell them that Orcard answered. And
Oh,
then, yeah, and I'm gonna answer him. I'm with the Shadowstalkers. What happened to you? You just vanished.
So you actually did meet Orcard before he vanished. He probably just didn't recognize your voice. So you're going to give me another spell to cast it again?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
He says, "Did you say your name?"
yeah, I'm
Okay.
tired.
He says, "Oh, Tal, where are you? I have been imprisoned by forces that seem to follow the Shadowlords. I'm in a dark place. I don't know where they've taken me." Yeah, he probably wouldn't know where he is. He says it seems almost like another world.
He says it seems like just gonna tell them everything. What should I tell him?
so he's probably in the Shadowfell, and at that point so they've been taken to the Shadowfell probably. Well, is he? Do we need to kind of reassure him, say, "Hey, we'll be coming at some point" or something like that?
Are we?
Oui, that's a good
Yeah, I
question.
mean, it's gonna be a while. But yeah, I mean, my plan is to go to the Shadowfell.
Balefire
Yeah, you
needs
need to
his
return
thing.
your crown.
Yeah.
Well, we have to go to the Shadowfell, but we want to go to Nightweather first, right? So
Hang in there, bro. We'll get there when we
yeah,
can.
yeah, I agree.
Are you gonna spend another spell?
Yeah, I'm gonna spend another spell and tell him we'll do what we can. Try to hold out.
He says, "I don't know what their plans are." He says, "I've been imprisoned with our other allies here. You should hurry. They might be planning to do something to us. I don't know." And yeah, that's it. So we are at 2 o'clock. Why don't we do MVP votes? And we'll pick it up on the 20th of winter at 7 a.m. next time. As Schroeder is hanging out with Elodie, and the rest of you are down in the library doing your downtime. Oh, and you can put another day towards whatever downtime thing you're doing. Let me know if any of you hit the 5-day work week so you can get some results.
Uh, was that our 5th day or was that our 4th day?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying if you do. I'm not tracking your projects. I assume you all are tracking that.
Does anyone else? No, that was. This would be the 5th day.
I'm looking. We have So we got 3 time. We did the map, the glass fair on the 50.
Well,
50th.
Schroeder, you probably couldn't do your downtime project today
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you were up
yeah.
here. But some of I don't know. Just make sure you do track that. Like when you have a project, how many days you put towards it.
Yeah, so we brought.
At my second day of Mindstorm research.
Second.
So I see that we have started on the 13th of winter, and I believe we are now on the 19th. Is that right? We are on the 19th. Yes, so today is the 19th. So we are actually on
That's
5
the
days.
6th day. We should have finished
Yeah, that's
yesterday.
6 days. We should have finished at the last. Yeah.
All right. Well, we can get the results of that next time because I have to look
All right.
into it. But looks like Schroeder with 2 votes, you are MVP.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Good
I
job, everyone.
Also, not
Thank
sure how you
you.
want to RP or whatever the last message I sent you.
Yeah. I mean, just keep that in mind for next time.
Wait,
And yeah, we can pick that up next game. Just I'll have it in chat and probably see it there and remind myself.
Hey, see everybody.
All right.
All right. See
Take
ya.
care. Have a good
have a
week,
good week,
everyone.
everyone.
How did this game start?
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care. Yep, undead babies. Some necromancer love. Yeah, I can't remember where did the game start. Now I'm blanking.
Today.
Yeah,
So we started on the. It was the 18th of winter. It was the morning.
you were in
We
the keep, right?
were at. We decided to go back to Dinara to report stuff. That's when she talked about the circle, and then we went
Okay,
and found
yeah,
the. Yeah,
I got it. Okay, yeah, I was just retracing those steps in my
yeah,
mind. Okay, yeah, that's right. So Daenerys, and then the Warforged, and then
yeah.
followed the ghouls, right?
So just for your information, because I'm tracking on my action channel the number of days since Wildfire arrived, and so it's been 54 days right now
Yeah.
that I've been going through.
Yeah, well, it's been 48 sessions
Yeah,
since we
very true.
began. I
Very
think
true. Yeah.
we're approaching I think the year anniversary from when we started.
Yep,
Yeah, it's getting close.
very true. Hi.
Did
Well,
you,
do you have? Yep.
so I
Right.
know in the beginning you said you planned to have the party go back to the other world at some point. Do you have any idea when
Yep.
you want to do that?
Not yet. I mean, it's depending on what's happening with us and the Shadowfell and the weather night. I mean, there's no kind of emergency or anything like that.
Yeah.
But so it is possible that even if we do that, we may still. It is possible that Wildfire returns at some point to his world, but we may still continue the adventure with you or continue the campaign and get to the higher level with you. I don't know yet. That's a discussion we started with Wildfire, and
Yeah. I mean, there's a we could always do a different campaign with other characters. There's certainly the first part of the campaign, but I think you've played that one already. So I don't
yeah.
know.
So if we do that, for me, that would be keeping Calgrod. Because Calgord would not go back to the to. I mean, Calgord is not from Wildfire's world, so Calgord would stay. Whatever happens with this group until effectively, I mean, Calgord would probably try to have more adventures in Guyana or something like that. That's the way I was thinking about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, party. Okay, so you track the goals. Yep.
Yeah. So for now, there's no kind of we have not put any kind of timeline on. We're going where the adventure is taking us.
Yeah.
Clearly, Balefire wants to go to the Shadowfell, but we think, I mean, Shorter and I think going to Nightweather first is probably the best option right now.
Yeah,
And
there's definitely a bunch of different roads that the group can take. Night weather would be harder just because you'd have to get enough energy to get there, which might
yeah,
not be available in the city. I know you were looking into the old Rune Master Tower that's hidden in the mountains.
yep,
So that's a possible direction the group could go to look for, a way to defeat the Shadowlord. So I think those are the major ones right now: is the
yep,
Shadowfell, the tower, or looking for ways to power this artifact.
yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll
So
see.
yeah, we'll see what that leads. Elodie is certainly like a new element in our discussions. No, but otherwise, so even if I'm taking Balefire back as a player, as a character in my campaign, that will be likely after he found the crown, and because the crown has a kind of interaction to what's going on in my world. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. You okay on your side? Everything's okay?
What do you mean?
Like in general, I mean, you're happy with the group, the way the group's
Oh,
going, and
yeah, I think so. I mean, I am hoping to recruit more players. The afternoons are a hard time slot to fill. A lot of Europeans want to play, but it's sometimes hard to get in touch with, European
yeah,
players. But yeah, no, I'm fine with playing at this time slot. It's been working out fine for me.
I I was wondering about because I know I mean we are very kind of cerebral, not necessarily very fightery. Is that something that may have pushed away some of the other players?
Um, so I'm gonna end the stream before I talk about that stuff. I'll see you all later for
Yeah.
the next game at 5:30, maybe. Hope everyone has a good day.